Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Levin2k and today I'm joined by three wonderful Fortnite players. A lot of you will recognize them for their performance last season in the finals of FNCS, and that's actually meant that they've qualified for this season's finals without having to play through the qualifiers. I'm very happy to be joined by them. Some of them I'm sure you'll be familiar with. Guys, I'm excited to have you. We'll start from left to right. Ref Scott, how are you feeling today, man? You doing all right? Happy about your performance last season?
Yeah, I feel good. Last season was good in the grands, but we were first most of the tournament, so a bit annoying that we got second at the end, but it was still a good performance.
Mr. Savage, the one and only. You obviously, you joined this trio last season and you guys did really well. You excited about your chances to make up for the lack of a first place performance last season?
Yeah, I think as long as we're not contested in Steamy, I think we're going to do definitely top 3 or better. So I'm excited. Yeah,
makes sense. And look, Andrea, we've spent a lot of time talking. I know how I know how you feel about your teammates. You're confident in their abilities. As an individual yourself, right? Do you feel like you guys are at that level now? You feel like the preparation, everything has been put in, and you're ready now to finally win your first FNCS?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Refson and Savage. I'm a bit annoyed that we didn't win last season, so we just got to practice and get ready for this season and then try and win this. And I think we're ready.
Well, I sort of alluded to it just a moment ago, and I'll go back to you, Savage, for this one. Obviously, you joined these guys, right? These two obviously were playing together in the past, in previous seasons, and you joined this trio as a solo. What was the sort of one thing you sort of felt to yourself when you were joining the trio in terms of, things that you felt you needed to improve? What sort of level you felt the trio was at? Like, could you see yourself when you joined winning an FNCS or even getting the second place that you got? What were your sort of thoughts when you actually joined this trio last season?
So when we started playing, like the first 2 or 3 tournaments, they weren't going too good. But like everybody in the trio has the mindset of like improving and like working together, and everybody's like giving each other tips on how to get better. So every tournament we were getting better and better, and I knew that if we could keep going up and up and up and getting better, I knew we could do good, and we did. So I hope we can do the same for this FNCS.
All right, I want to give you guys a chance to tell your competitors what they should be ready for. A bit of a warning message to all of them. We'll start with you, Savage. Anything to say to the other players in the lobby?
I mean, yeah, just be careful. We're going to be on high ground, we're going to be low ground, we're going to be mid ground, we're going to be everywhere. So just be careful.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there. You got to be careful when these guys are in the lobby. You got to be careful. Look, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys put in a brilliant performance in the finals. I'll be rooting for you. I promise. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
just flicks them out of the air.
And Gabe and Sprite, the awareness there, they were just ahead ever so slightly. Gabe hops down, finishes up the fight in a clean Victory Royale finish.
Wir haben jetzt die beiden besten Trios in dieser Runde. Und jetzt geht's hier runter. Alpha mit der Doppel-Eliminierung.
Keiko con 10 puntos de salud, nada más. Como prometido, repente la ventana de la ventanita del amor. Encuentra a Paco Tudo, lo manda para el suelo, va contra otro más. Sí, señor, revienta mi pedazo de anillo y compañía.
Look at this. I'm gonna make it happen. He stopped in his tracks. I mean, man. Oh my God, Reese.
Proche de prendre tout simplement de la seule pendant que vient pour sa carte, il va rentrer Tyson avec 55 points qui descend dans le dos de Charles Frozen.
Tyson dropping down towards the end. There's no one left to really take him out. One and it will be another shot, another win.
Woo! What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the FNCS Finals. We are here. We've done it. We've made the trip. It is time. I am so grateful to be here with every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. Now, of course, you know we had to bring the boys along for the trip. We got Levin. We got Reese here as well. My friends, we've done it. We've made it to the finals.
Look, it's been a long journey, but it's gone by quick, right? You know how they say time flies when you're having fun. If it's your first time watching an FNCS final, if it's your last time watching an FNCS final, I can guarantee you one thing: you will leave today entertained, because we have the best players, the best talent. It's just the best of the best Fortnite, and that's exactly what you want out of the FNCS finals, and I can guarantee you're gonna get that.
Yeah, it's the best, and they've played so much to get here. They've played the 3 qualifiers. They've gone through the semifinals of 4 heats each. They've gone through the reboot round if they've had to as well. And those games have been such high quality all the way through. And it's produced the best teams that have made it here as well. So our lobby right now is looking so incredibly stacked for this weekend. And I genuinely just want to get into the games already.
Oh, man, there's so much, right? There's so much that we have to talk about, right? For viewers at home that have never seen, that you don't know, don't worry, we're going to get you guys up to speed. But first, we got to talk about a few things before we can get there. First off, let's talk about watch.fortnite.com. It is exactly what you're viewing right now, but there's also a leaderboard on the right-hand side. So you'll always keep track of what's happening and you won't miss a beat. Watch.fortnite.com. There's also trivia. Check it out. It's dope. Now, let's talk about this crazy outfit that has just hit Fortnite for the FNCS. That's right. Major Glory has taken the scene, baby. She comes with an awesome backbling, and there is a brand new lobby track that is, you just have to check out. I mean, you got a little snippet of it there, and of course it's insane. It's going to be leaving after the FNCS, so make sure you at least check it out, decide what you want to do there. Okay, let's talk about the tournament format. So you guys that are brand new, check this out. We started with an open qualifier round. We had 3 rounds of qualifiers. You can see there in the bottom left. Last weekend we came from semifinals and then a reboot round. Now this means that today and tomorrow, 2 days of finals, 6 games, both days. It's going to be insane, Levin.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely unreal. And look, how did players actually get here, right? Because we have 33 teams competing in the lobby today. 2 trios came from last season's finals. It would have been 3, but one of the top 3 teams decided to disband. We'll get to that, I'm sure, throughout the day. Nevertheless, though, there were 3 qualifying weeks as well. The top 3 teams from each week qualified through. Half of our teams, or just over half of our teams, made it through the semi-finals. And then there were 4 spots up for grabs in the reboot round, which is an always exciting event to watch. And of course, that made it 33 teams who will be competing, like you said, Zeke, over the course of the next 2 days for one thing, right? They all want that one thing, the AXA Champions, that first place prize.
Yeah, and across the 2 games, like I said, 12 games total, 6 games each day. And this is what they have to actually be able to do, right? In their games, they have to get these points somehow, and this is it. As soon as you get to that top 24, that's when you get your first placement threshold. You're going to get 5 points then. As soon as you get up to that top 17, every single threshold since, you're going to get more and more points until you get to that first place, the big victory round, every individual match, and you're going to get 30 points overall. So each elimination also being 2 points total. So it's going to be a big balance between the teams you're just going to see at the top of your leaderboards are going to get a lot of those top 10s. Where you're going to get 16 or more placement points and tons of eliminations too.
That's right. And of course, we can't forget there's finals. there's money, and of course the Axe of Champions. Now, really quickly, let's dive into the specific pricing of Europe here. That's right. $300,000 for the trio that walks away, the FNCS Trios champion. But everyone who has made it this far will walk away with something. Now, the most important thing is the Axe of Champions. That's right, an in-game pickaxe that I myself forged after being abducted by aliens. They chauffeured me around the cosmos, and eventually we ended at a black hole. Within the black hole, the gold. From there, I took it. I said, friends, I have to go back home. I have to forge the Axe of Champions. They returned me home. I forged it, entered into Fortnite, and now the champions will walk away with this pickaxe in their inventory. This is all fake, by the way. Let's take a look, though, because we took a look at the 7 regions that are going head-to-head. We can take a look at 2 of those regions specifically that are already wrapped up their first day of the competition, their first 6 games. Let's take a look. It's Asia. It's OCE. Now, the stat lines, don't be alarmed, okay? These are kind of insane. Starting us out, though, 218 points on just day number 1.
Yeah, for Muro's team, that is absolutely insane. Obviously, they've gained themselves a huge lead over Demon's team, currently in 2nd place right now, and they have an average eliminations of 8.5. I was going to say 6.5 and say how crazy that was. That would still be the higher than everyone else in the lobby. 8.5 per game, which is nuts. That's if you don't know anything about how many eliminations each team normally gets per game, 8.5 is crazy, but no victory royale. So these guys have been playing that kind of classic low to mid ground play style, which, you know, I think we'll see a lot of that today. If anything, this leaderboard shows what we're going to see in kind of EU and all the other regions too.
Yeah, let's take a look down at Oceania as well, because that region has also wrapped up its day 1 and even more spectacular things being seen, Reese-Hub. Look, we got Vortex, Jace, and Tayson in first place after day 1. Potentially not the only Tayson in first place after day 1. We'll see. Look, these guys won 2 of their games, right? And, you know, again, crazy sort of eliminations. They had an average eliminations of 8.17, more than anybody else by quite a bit. And look, you know, with arguably the best team in this region leaving, right? Muzzlu and Speedy, they weren't here this season. It's left, you know, the table open for anyone to go and really snatch that crown. And you can see a lot of these top teams are looking to try and get it. They have another day, of course, but after day 1, you know, some interesting stuff nevertheless.
Yeah, and what was crazy, actually, is Jink, Alec, and were these, like, they didn't get a game that was worse than 8th place. So they've been super, super consistent, but still didn't manage to beat out Vortex's team. That's just how good they've been doing overall, which is pretty impressive. So day 2 tomorrow, I'm sure will be really good for those guys.
That's right. Now we got to keep the day 1 talk here for some of our trios. So let's actually revisit some of the trios coming out of qualifier 1, 2, and 3 and champions from last season. These crazy trios that are coming in super strong. We're starting this off. We got Benji, Fishy, Shadow, and Joe.
Yeah, of course, Benji, Shadow, and Joe. Benji Fishy, one of the biggest name players in all of Fortnite. He's playing with Shadow and Joe this place in qualifier 1, and I'll tell you what, nobody really expected it. Unless you're a massive Benji fan, you wouldn't have been expecting it, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing happened when it came to qualifier 2, you know, with Red Rush and Mappy's team, where they came first. And again, I don't think anyone was predicting them necessarily to place first in this qualifier, but they played so well. You know, they were doing a really, really good job fighting the Loot Boys of Spawn, who have also managed to qualify through here today as well, but obviously from a different qualifying week. So I want to see how they're going to do this week, changing the drop spots. And our qualifier 1 winner and our qualifier 2 winner, being both Benji's team and then Red Rush's team, are actually contesting each other, interestingly enough, this week. So, you know, we may not see a reflection of that and both of them being up in first.
Of course, and look, a team who I think many people did expect to qualify through the weeks, and Alex, Forzia, and XWeez, a team that is somewhat newly formed, right? This season is the first season they're playing with each other as a trio, and boy, did they impress in qualifier 3. They had a bit of a stinky time in qualifier 2, we'll be honest, but qualifier 3 came round and they put on an absolutely unbelievable performance. Unplayable on the day, a better, you know, qualifying performance that we've seen from anybody in all of this season.
Yeah, they literally played better than anyone who's made it through to this final so far. So technically, they've had the best performance out of anyone who's playing in the lobby today, which is so crazy to see, right? Their performance that day was nuts. I am a little bit worried about how they're going to end up playing this time with their different drop spot being potentially contested too. But moving over to our previous and current FNCS champions, Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki as well. You know, we haven't seen these guys all season. There are so many things I want to say about this team in terms of like how many high ground teams there are going on right now, right? Like how many potential play styles that these guys have? Can they play that low to mid ground? There's a lot left open, and we have to answer these questions throughout the next 12 games.
Yeah, of course, we got to give them their flowers. They are the reigning FNCS champions. And, you know, you take a look at some of these things here. The average placement in Chapter 2 Season 6 during set lobbies was 7.5. That's essentially, you know, when we're looking at, you know, round 4s in the qualifier weeks, as well as the semi-finals and the finals. An average placement of 7.5 is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And on top of that, look, their high ground win rate. So potentially in these set lobbies, once they took high ground, they won 80% of their games. And remember, this was like a real focus for them when it comes to their general playstyle, usually taking it around 4th or 5th zone, maintaining it all the way through to the end game. And if they manage to play that successfully, 80% win rate. The problem is actually taking it is the difficulty given the standard of lobby we have. We'll get to later how many high ground teams there actually are right now. So interesting. Not only that, with so many top teams, they've also managed to get in that time 38 eliminations against the players who were in the top 10 last season. So basically, they had the most eliminations against essentially the hardest teams, right? You know, the biggest teams, the biggest names, they were super easy and able to knock them out better than any other team.
I think the question that is sort of on the cards for everybody, and if you're watching at home and you're thinking, okay, these are the reigning champions, or what does that mean for them today, is a repeat on the table for them. And of course, you know, it's the FNCS finals, you almost never know. It's a possibility. You look at last season to this season, not much has necessarily changed that would make you think they can't go back and win it again. They probably aren't the favorites, right? There are some teams who you're probably stacking above them, but, you know, we know these guys can come on and put on the show. They've literally done it before. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare today.
I mean, firstly, let's be real, right? They can do it 100%. I love the story of a repeat champion. At the end of the day, coming back and doing it again shows just pure dominance. And I think that's it's just fun to watch. Let's be real, right? Secondly, there's been so many people memeing when they won. Oh, you had the rift in your spawn. You had a rift there. You can use the rift any game. It's gone this season. What are they going to do? What are the people going to say if they win 2 times in a row?
That's what you gotta do, man. You gotta silence all the haters. That's all you gotta do. I want to actually focus on one thing really quickly: the lobby list, the 33 trios we will be seeing in today's matches. Now, even outside of the entire list, just this these top 5, 6 teams, even 7, 8 teams, like this whole first page. I mean, this first page could very well walk away the champions, boys. This is terrifying.
Of course, look, you know, this is sort of the order, right, of in which teams qualified. And you look at this page of 10 teams, and yes, this could literally be the top 10 at the end of the 2 days. If you told me it was, I would probably believe you. Like, it seems believable. All of these teams are absolutely phenomenal and have played phenomenally at some point during the season. And many of the favorites, many of the people who are being predicted to win are on this page.
Yeah, I would genuinely be surprised if someone from this page didn't win. But on top of that, anyone that's out here in the 33 teams could win. You know, there's Queasy's team, the return champion, like we said, Rescar's team, who was second last season. Joe, Benji Shadow, 1 qualifier, 1, obviously alongside Aqua's team, who was in second. Hen's team, who is my personal pick to do, you know, so good going that first place slot. They're also potentially going for a second-time championship after they won back in season 5. So there's so many teams, even on this first page, that have that potential to take the first place.
Yeah, we'll get into more of them as the day goes on, I can assure you. Let's take a look at that next page, though, because, of course, you know, I think with every page, you will get a couple teams you think, you know, I could see them doing it. You look at the likes of, you know, Amplify, Matsu, and Alien, who, you know, were unlikely finalists this season. I think you look at the way last season ended for Matsu and Amplify, you thought, you know, I can't see where this is going. It looked like it was falling off of a cliff, and all of a sudden, they get back with ADN. They're back in an FNCS final. These guys have been in great form. Floki, Clement, the Sipsos, a team who we know in the past can be an elite team. Today, the odds might be against them, but of course, you can never count them out. So definitely some contenders here as well, Reese.
Definitely indeed, right? I also see Force's team up there, the current reigning champion from Asia, who moved over and has made it through the final. So I want to see how those guys kind of pop off here when it comes to the EU region. But if we go into that final page, the last 11 teams that we have coming through here, a lot of big names that we want to look at. Pink, Nebs, and Stompy as well, who didn't make a single round 4 when it came to the qualifiers, right? But as soon as they got to their heat in that set lobby, they came first. They dominated. So they're comfortable when it comes to the set lobby environment, and that's going to be super good for them. In particular, same with Safik, Default, and Putrik, the team right underneath them, the 3rd place team there. These guys are looking very strong, kind of filling that role that Thomas Fulkin and Nas usually play when it comes to dirty docks. And we'll see how that POI plays out for them in this kind of environment too.
And look, the last thing I'll say, right, is the bottom 4 teams, do not write them off. Those were the reboot round teams, the reboot round winners. And look, any of them could put in a performance. They've all shown that they can win games in high intensity moments, and there is no moment bigger than this, right? It's the FNCS finals, the biggest 2 days of the season. So watch out for those guys as well.
Guys, we got to move on to my favorite portion, the drawing portion. You guys love, you know that I love when these guys draw on the map. So we've actually done something a little bit different. We've put the names of the trios on the map here, so we get a very good and concise and clear understanding of what this map is going to look like for the next 2 days of competition. You know, Reese, I think one of the things that terrifies me the most about this map is now after the qualifiers, the semifinals, and the reboot, just look at the POIs. So many of these are completely uncontested. They have been what we call claimed. And that worries me because I like during this entire, and any FNCS season really, a lot of teams struggle with Surge. And if you don't have a team that's contesting you, you're going to struggle with Surge. So what can we expect coming out of these trios? This is a little weird.
Yes, indeed. Firstly, I want to do one quick point before I answer your question. Big shout outs to FN Maxine, Jinja, and Trizon, who made the map, dropspots.pro. They basically make all the maps every single time for EU. So shout outs to them, right? They're a huge help for me personally, right? That's why we're looking at the fantastic names on screen. Okay, so you're asking Uncon, Dropspot, Storm Surge. Look, if you look in particular in this kind of top left corner, you see a lot of big teams uncontested, right? That's really difficult because they have to try and get Storm Surge on each other, essentially. So we already know Flecken's team, spoke to him a little bit earlier, said he's going to W key someone, be that him moving over to where Wings is or to where Diablo's team, his old teammate, potentially may get the little W key and get aggressive. It'll be tough. For guys like Tayson, for them on kind of east zones, they usually like to set up in this mid map. Noah's team is very well known for W keying teams as well. So I think we're going to see a lot of fighting, and I probably would have to fight if you're a team who spawns up in this kind of top left, right? You're probably just going to have to start fighting people, or you're going to have to rotate so early and get deeper into the zone to get tags if you're this many teams uncontested around you.
Yeah, 100%. And you look at a contrast where West is so uncontested, the East is incredibly contested. You got teams contesting, in so many of these areas here on the west side of the map. Of course, Mr. Savage, Mustache, those two trios going to be fighting it off. Not going to be too great for them. But you look at that and how it affects the teams around them. Right? This is such a good thing for a team such as the likes of Cami, Seti, and Teak, where those guys are going to be licking their lips, right? Because if they can get involved and third party some of these fights early on in the first couple zones, it gives them such an advantage, right, when it comes to dealing with Surge in comparison to a lot of those teams over on the west side. And even when you're talking about how the east side teams, the west side teams will be affected by the east side contestation, you look at if they're not sorting out their Surge quickly, you're not going to get it deeper in, right? After the teams fight it out at their selected POIs, they're going to be scuffed, they're going to be low on loot, they're not going to want to even get a peek of anything, right? And so it makes it harder for you when you're trying to get tags on them deeper into the game. So these early game fights are going to completely sway the flow of the games and the lobby as a whole. And that's just more exciting for us.
That is going to be absolutely crazy. We don't have too long before we jump aboard the battle bus. So guys, really fast, let's shift our attention to predictions. We got to talk about which of these trios we think could inevitably walk away the new trios champions. Don't forget, 2 days of competition, 12 games total. This is the gauntlet, and Levin and Reese are in agreement. This has only happened a number of times across FNCSs, but right now you guys agree. It's Hen, Janice, and Chapix.
You said it's only happened a number of times. The last time it happened during the FNCS finals, Reese, remind me what happened, please. I may have forgotten.
I'll remind you, don't worry. I'm gonna rewind my brain a second. 2 seasons. I only work in Fortnite seasons, apparently. We go back. Me and you both predict Hen, Janice, Chapix to win. Guess what? They take number 1. They all hold that axe of champions. Here we go again, the repeat. Me and you both predicting them yet again. Look, we know what's gonna happen. Okay. We're feeling it right now.
It was just confirmed. Shio's gone with Noah Riley, Vidil, and Aqua, which is an incredibly solid pick. Aqua is back. He's back at the top of his game, and he's got 2 incredible players alongside of him. Probably the best high ground team in the lobby, if we're being real.
Yeah, and arguably another one of the best teams, Tayson, Vino, and Reason. Tayson looking to go for his 4th. Oh, it's crazy when I say that. 4th FNCS championship title alongside Vino and Reason, who have been playing so good this season. I think it's a 5th, a 4th, and a 2nd in the 3 qualifiers. So in set lobbies, these guys have just shown the consistency. Doesn't matter who's in their lobby, who they're against. They can play so well. And it's going to be a battle for first.
I love how you say that, right? Tayson there, going for his 4th. Some people trying to get 1. Some people trying to get 1. He's going for his 4th. Madness.
Absolute madness. Guys, you see, we're about to get going here on the Battle Bus. We have very high expectations for the next 6 games. I'm so sorry. Don't forget, watch.fortnite.com, another great place to do what you're doing now. Also, bus drivers, let me know, we have activated drops, so a great place to catch some of those. But okay, we're going to go meet with our casters. We got Shy Wager, we got C2S7, so be your eyes in the sky. So boys, let's kick off the finals.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. The hero's journey has one constant, and that's hardship, right? Week after week, we've seen these guys battle it out. 33 teams of heroes now are here today to try to become champions, legends. Welcome to the FNCS Finals.
And it's all going to happen in this weekend, 12 game sets. And you talked about heroes. You talked about being 33 trios of heroes, but there's only going to be 3 standing tall at the all said and done. And right now, defending the crown is Trulix, Jerky, and Queasy. And this is going to be quite difficult for them, considering not a lot of people are predicting them to do it again, Shio.
Yeah, a little bit different from last season and now, but you see the way they've kind of adapted. Even just today, overall, I wasn't even expecting them to be this far away from their POI. 33 teams landed on the island. This is game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, and we barely even have any action so far, though. Benji gets a big quick splash. Is also, look at these split, just taking out people off spawn. Queasy, though, the reigning champions, they take a bit and just farm up.
Already we're seeing Wings out there in the Deep Woods Dish, taking out a knock on Matzo in Pleasant Park. Benji picking up a knock against the Stereo team down in Corny Complex. So already knocks are happening, confirms eliminations are happening as the Asian champion from FNCS Force gets an elimination there on Zebre. So Shio, this is what we're talking about here. Those early fights are happening all over the place as Flownet confirms the elimination on Matzo. You gotta watch out for Wings, Flownet, and Carmi out there in that Deep Woods Dish. They came out in first place in their heat, and they could be a surprise here in the finals.
Absolutely, many surprises can happen. Just remember though, if you're just tuning in, if you missed the desk a little bit, we are going to be watching for over 2 days, 12 games, 6 a day. Have some of the best competitors. I haven't seen Benji in a while, Sancho. Nice breath of fresh air once again. Watching the classics we've qualled in the earlier weeks. Run it up one more time in the finals.
Benji Fishy, last appearance was in season 5 of chapter 2 with alongside of Matzo and Amplify. That was the team that we had a nice honeymoon period. Season 6 last season didn't turn out so well for Benji, and Benji was unable to make it to these set lobbies. So right now, all the Benji fans are excited to see what they can do. Of course, Joe and Shadow last season were stompy, and hey, they were very aggressive at height. Question will be for this trio is, can Benji, Shadow, and Joe execute height when there's so many other people up there? But hey, here we go. Savage, Rustguard, and Dreda going up against Malbuka's trio.
Yeah, this is kind of like the main title card match we were waiting to watch at Steamy Stacks.
Oh, yes.
Savage, obviously, second place from last season, right behind Queasy just by a few points. Rolls in with the trio that's been landing here for so long, Refsguard and Andretta. So when Malabuka ends up qualifying all the way towards the end, you know, through those semifinals, rolls in. And then now you see these guys just, you know, going at it against each other. Pleasant Park, too. A little bit of lootage happening here.
Yeah, it looks like Matzo's trio there is down 2 people. It's a solo out there. And I'm expecting eventually when it gets into the later stages, Shio, I'm expecting him, Janice, and Chapix to rotate their way through. As you were seeing, actually, they've been fully confirmed. Upify, ADN, Matzo fully eliminated. Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy lose their first engagement in Corny Complex. And Sai, Minkup, and Zebre are out as well.
So a few of those trios just missing already. They'll be able to fix things up and come back. It's just the first game.
Yep.
Everyone's kind of feeling out the field. Looking at exactly where things are happening. Back to that Steamy Stacks engagement. I feel like that's where things will really get, you know, busted and going. These guys actually choose to completely disengage. I don't think that fight went all the way through. I haven't seen any of the names go down in the feed. Savage, Refsguard, and Andretta Sancho, you know, up until 2 weeks ago, up until the last game of heat number 3, they were just expecting to have a free POI entirely. Malabuka rolls in with a crazy clutch in the final moment, the last zone, obviously, to basically clinch the qualification. And now these guys are going to be in trouble for 12 games in a row.
And if you missed out last season, Savage came in 2nd place and had a great run against our champion, defending champion Queasy Trio. Hey, if you look at the stats between those two trios, Shio, it literally was exactly the same when it comes to elimination and placement. What did it boil down to? 2 victory royales that Queasy Trio was able to get in day 2 and overtake Savage. Now, if you're a Savage fan out there, you have to be happy that they're not out and that they disengage. They have to get it, all their resources to get back up. If you're more fans of Analyxo, this is where you have to be worried.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of trouble that we were expecting. Might not be the exact team, but here we go. X Squeeze 4-0 and Alex. Might not be off spawn, but these guys are definitely clashing. Kha'Zix looking for his first taste of any body shots. This fight not going to happen. X Squeeze is too good with the builds. They're going to be going all the way towards the skies. Falconly, though, already down. 4-0 takes him out. And now Andalex and Squeeze, they're there. A full wipe. Don't make a mistake. And I feel like everyone's down. That was so fast. Clinical, clean. No one on Analex's team took any damage.
Very nicely done. Usually that is not a detour when they get into a set lobby. They've already rotated usually about the 9-minute mark. They're already towards the center of the map. But so these are what we're seeing. ZQ, not slated to land there at all, has changed his drop spot. So we've got to keep an eye on that development as we're seeing now a new kind of a temporary king. I don't know what you call that. Sapphic, Patrick, and Default here using the old school, I guess the dirty docs of, I hate to say it, of Thomas Stacey and Austin Flick. It breaks my heart when I got to bring that up because they're not here today.
Yeah, if you're watching FSS for the first time, there used to be a team that lands exactly where the POV of the top right teams is landing here for multiple seasons. That's Thomas, Anas, and Flick. This season, unable to qualify for the finals. This new trio, the Centric Cyber Legend combination, ends up taking over the POI. We'll see what they can do today. It's very strong, and Thomas's team in the past has been very close to even winning FNCS's. It'll be their first run here in the finals out of this spot.
All right, here it is. Zone 1 has been revealed. Actually, this is actually Zone 2 that's been this is Zone 1, I'm sorry, but I'm just getting ahead of myself because I'm thinking about who has the advantage here, and that is definitely going to be Aqua. Aqua is going to have a huge advantage of that. Those green arrows you see on the left side, right near Believer Beast, that is Tayson's trio, but you have to look dead center right there at Bony Burbs. That is Aqua's trio going to be standing strong. So this is going to be quite interesting, and no doubt, if the pink arrows are way up there, that has to be Hen, Janice, and Chapix, who are kind of coming there and making this rotation from the dead side coming down into the south. So that's what's developing here. Zone 1. This is going to be a nice opportunity for those northern to center trios to get a huge amount of points on the leaderboard, child.
Now, when it's a zone like this, a lot of the teams that have POIs uncontested, there was a stat on screen earlier as well, have a huge advantage to move out, do what they need to do. When it's a north zone here too, looking at the rivers, the trees, small hills, it's very easy to end up controlling large quadrants of the map. You can't really do that as well at the south. Mountains are a bit too big. You can take shots at a lot of people, but you can't really stop them from pushing up near you. You can see though, Sapphic, Putric, Default, no one's really super based up beside them. The closest trio, which is Ref's Guards, it's actually pretty far away, so they get to do what they want to do when they end up moving out from here, and that's kind of replicated all throughout the map. Malabuka's trio right there you see on screen have the entire barn, all of Orchard to themselves, and right now Void, Karma, Fastroki, they roll in what is now Bony Burbs a little bit after off spawn. See what they can do from here.
I have a question for you. When it comes to those three trios, do you see them being much more aggressive during the rotations? Like, they didn't really get that many tags. So you have uncontested dirty, you have a split happening in Steamy Stacks. If no big trades are happening when it comes to elimination, Shio, that just means they're going to be much more aggressive in the rotations, and that just means more chaos will happen on that side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, why would they be aggressive though, right? That's the first question we have to answer, because in Fortnite Battle Royale, when it comes to competitive, Storm Surge is the thing. If you're also watching for the first time today, what this basically means is that a lot of the teams we're playing are gonna have to deal damage, or the server starts to shoot lightning down on them for being a little bit too passive. That's what Sancho's talking about. A lot of these teams haven't really been shooting sniper shots. If you listen for a second, you're not really hearing any ARs or shots to be taken around the field. A lot of these teams now will be forced to attack each other, look for openings just a little bit, because that is kind of the cycle of gameplay, right? You just watched a bunch of off-spawn fights happen. In the mid-game, it's all about making bases, taking shots. And then it's the end game of Fortnite, the chaos going for the win. Chulex and Void, they might look at each other to take those shots, might not be looking for full elims right here, but any damage they can do, making sure to knock off those shields, keep up that number, the threshold, so they don't fall below everyone else around them.
Now we're pushing down south to all the trios landing in south as Malibuka gets knocked. Bubak's in trouble right here, down to 35 HP. These are the engagements that you're going to see throughout the entire weekend. And we're going to take an closer eye on what engagements are going to happen and what adjustments will be made. Kylie, Aware, and Bubak right now. Camp Cod, that's not an easy rotation. You're just seeing how difficult it can be. And these pit stops, dipping into the heals, dipping into the resources. And so you can see, Andelix 4ZR, they already had an engagement. They're a little bit wounded, but it's still a change, like one of those dangerous trios out there who are going to definitely utilize that permapad. But it looks like 4ZR and Andelix, they are going to try to get out via the IO vehicle. And there's still one solo underneath this entire engagement, just hiding out.
Trying to see what they can do when it comes to Bubak, Kylie, and Aware. These guys also rolled in from the semifinals. Overall, close to the top of their heat. That means, you know, it took them a little bit of a while to get things rolling. A lot of people who rolled in through qual weeks are kind of the stronger trios who took control of everyone around them. These guys, although they played very well, they weren't as, in terms of qualifying for the finals, up against some of the best trios in Europe. Right now, facing a much harder lobby, facing legends. They have to really switch up their play style. Yes, they get aggressive. They like to latch onto a few trios, bully them as they go across and try to push everyone away. That might not be possible when you're up against the best of the best.
Now, that was a very smart disengage from Andelix. As you see, they are taking a pit stop in the pit of the aftermath, considering that they have to work really hard to get back those resources that they use in that engagement with ZQ's trio. And you're seeing Bubak, Kylie, and Aware doing really well with the Storm Surge. It's been revealed 16 people have to go down here, and they're about 200 plus over. But this is what I'm talking about. When you're Andelix's trio, they don't want to be anywhere near that. When you see how well they do when they get those top placements, they're already gone. They're already closer, especially on the north zone. They're already zooming on there by the close of zone 1. So considering that they're zone behind where they want to be, have to keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. Positioning is a big thing right now, though. That threshold, the big pop-up right above the mini-map on the bottom right of your screen, that's the focus for every team. You want to make sure you're at least 200 to 300 above the damage threshold right now. And Dread Savage Ref Squad, they started 33 below, but they are really ramping up both the action and the damage. Make sure, though, you don't fall into that temptation, right, Sancho? Because right now, yes, you're beaming lots of people around you. You still have to keep track of these zones. They are going to be getting smaller and smaller. You're going to have to be moving, changing up your safe bases. Sometimes people focus way too much on the shots and then lose their positioning.
Malibuka already got knocked in this match, so his resources are going to be limited. And you got to know that him, Janix, and Tapix are the stronger trio out of that bunch, considering they had an uncontested Craggy. So they're going to have the power weapons. They're going to be vibing. As you see, Toos and Stormrite coming all the way from Slurpy Swamps here in the feed, getting some knocks. But here it is. Fast Roki, Void, and Karma, only 16 above. So look for them to be very aggressive against Toasty, who's right a layer down below. So this is a very crucial engagement, considering that 13 people have to go down, and they have to deal with the pressure of a lot of trios looking into this engagement as Teak gets knocked in the feed.
Yeah, a lot of the time you saw Savage kind of civilized, was going for a few shots, editing a wall or two. Over here, the fights get primitive. You end up getting closer to people's walls, desperate, looking for shots. Time's running out 32 below the threshold now. T chips this down, taking out a nice tag, 33. Get these guys to what would be one above. Fast Roki, wow. But now Storm Surge is active. You'll watch the lightning strike in just a little bit of a moment. This is a timer that's run out for Fast Roki, Void, and Karma. They need to hit these shots, and they do, but they're barely teetering over that line. It looks like they finally get one person down towards the ground over there, but now it's Andelix's trio that might be the next target.
Fast Roki, Void, and Karma are trying to get into a great position, considering they changed their drop spot.
Oh, no.
And now they're going to have to work as they do with Void and Fast Roki. Look at this. The HP is not there. They're in a huge disadvantage. The position is in shambles. The only saving grace that they have right now is the focus is not on them. But here is Andelix, a squeeze 4ZR, about to wash over this engagement. Elder and Rotary there are just in between them, just giving that barrier buffer for Fast Roki and Void to get up into a decent fighting stance. Elder takes a huge 53 tag. He's going to retreat back to Rotary, but this might be dangerous because Fast Roki and Void, they're going to keep pushing in, and all of a sudden, 4ZR's trio is right there to greet them. Look at them. 4ZR's is working the way right underneath.
Trying to look for it, but this is what I was talking about when it comes to, you know, looking for damage and trying to balance that with position. These guys have been so lost in the sauce. There's 10 seconds left now to move into the zone. Every other team that's kind of been clean so far and have taken over their tactics, strategies. They're already inside waiting for Void and Fastroki to rotate in late. This is trouble, and they're a whole teammate down, Sancho. That's 500 less builds, 5 less inventory slots, and a lot of firepower they're missing.
Yeah, exactly. They're totally different from when they were at strength during the semifinals and qualifiers. When they're operating from a power POI, I mean, they were able to put up double-digit eliminations in Victory Royale. They were able to get into the finals with a huge double-digit Victory Royale at the last minute there. So that is what they're working with, and that is kind of like the power they have behind the trio. But you're just seeing when it comes to being wounded along the way, you just lose so much resources, and you're weaker. You're susceptible for being eliminated quickly.
And it's so hard to move inside these grand finals as well. Elder finally goes down. Shizo picked up by Andretta towards one of the sides of the map as well. Chapix, Janice, Hen having trouble. Some of the predictions to do so well today take the whole competition over both days as well. They have launched over the river.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe. You must put it down now. A lot of the times these teams save the launch pad for a further zone, but if you don't play the one you're in, you're not going to make it. You know, you might get sent all the way home. So it's smart for them to use the resources, do what they need to do. And it's the same thing that Void and Fastroki are doing. Might not be completely in zone, but they're looking for something. They need to refresh, they need to balance out the scale. So they're going to bully Rotary here all the way across, but it's too far to really get those mats after the fact. They'll try to move off as well. Storm Surge is still going to be going on in the background too, so every team still has to be doing lots of damage.
Now the question will be is, if being uncontested this time around, no doubt Janice, Hen, and Chapix, they are the heavy favorite for the analyst desk. Both analysts of Levin and Reese picking them to go all the way through. They were a big favorite last season. They just were contested so many times. They won about 10 out of the 12. Basically, they were just unstoppable. But every time they walked out of that engagement, Shio, they were greeted by open arms from Vidil, Reason, and Nora Riley, and they were quickly eliminated. So it's just showing you the power that they do have. But let's see what they can do. I have no eliminations just yet, but just wait for them to get to endgame.
Absolutely, those guys are a complete powerhouse. Hen takes out Ref's guard somewhere. Right now we're watching 7 Tour, also in a world of hurt. He's pushed back into the storm. Look at his HP bar ticking down. You can't stay here for too long. That missed edit will also cost him about 15 HP. Being from the left side, this is trouble. My man is dipping into the cabbage patch to try and stay alive. It's not going to be possible. 7 Tour, lobby focused and taken out.
He gets hooked off the stage, and what I'm kind of surprised about the most is Fastroki and Void now operating as a duo. We've been watching them this entire way. We've been keeping track of their trek across the map here from the south side, and they're just still on their feet, and they're just finding opportunities there. That's going to be some resources to be able to get right there, but I don't know how much gas is in this tank because I feel like they're running on fumes.
Absolutely. We're watching the survival game across the edges of this zone line, but let's look at the Titans right now in the lobby that have position or closer towards the north. Benji, Fishy, Shadow, Joe, no one really that damaged at all. I think Shadow might just need a little bit more shields, but he's going to be looking good. These guys and a bunch of the trios we're about to be checking in with, they're ready to win this game. They're ready to take control of what they have. They're not just, you know, on the back foot at all.
That was a great rotation. Look, there's not a lot of trios in this path here. They need to continue on. That is what everybody's doing. Here it is. It's still game 1. Everybody jockeying position, as Shio said. They're trying to get those crucial knocks and maybe refreshes along the way. But Blueback won't be able to join the dance. His music has stopped as Kylie and Aware here now get the lobby focus, and the fire is raining down on these builds here. Luckily, a lot of hard mats were expended here on the defensive hold. The fire won't spread out, but you got to be careful because the grass itself, you see it could catch a blaze.
Yeah, Rotary taken up by FSI on one of the sides. So once again, a little bit of a replay of how those semis ended up going. The finals now, though, a completely different game. Kylie Aware, another duo we're watching. It's going to be trouble for them in this zone. Once it locks in a second, we'll see exactly where everyone has to go. It's towards the south side. So all the planning these top teams had to stay towards the north, they get pulled maximum ways towards the other side of the map. And look at that. Aqua, Vidil. I mean, these guys all the way up on height with Noah Riley, they're looking really good in the way they're going to be attacking things. Already on high ground, 2 is competing for it too. They're all going to have to move, though, and set up a new base here. While Rifla and Astro, they're in trouble.
Also as well, Janus did get knocked here, but the focus here is on Rifla. The lobby focus, the spray as Chapix returns the favor and gets an elimination on Savid. So now it's Rifla and Astro here colliding with the Season 5, Chapter 2 champions, and they decide enough is enough. The water was a little too hot, and they move on through, and they sit right on top of Clement's trio as the zones are moving in. This minute right here, this rotation is going to be a make or break for a lot of trios. As you see, they're not safe in, but the one thing I got to keep an eye on is the left side of Benji, Shadow, and Joe. Remember, their truck wasn't that much, and they do have a vehicle here. I expect them to be in this in-game.
Yeah, they might be, but there's a big traffic jam on that right side. Lots of different trios trying to make their way, and it's difficult. All their mats should be down. At the same time, a majority of these guys have jumped the curb. They use launch pads to get all the way in. They don't want to drive by and be able to get affected by Benji or anyone inside those trucks at this point, or even rotating in on ground.
I'm taking a look at height. The deal is there's been a big contest because two Security are right there. We saw them vying for height. Look at Rifle's POV right on the right side. He's in a cone looking in. You're seeing what's happening here. I don't know, Aqua's trio, they've basically been tweeting out on social media 12 for 12 on height, 12 for 12 on height. They're always going to be there. So the question can be is, will they have the ability to hold, considering there's 5 or 6 trios that tend to contest height? And at the same time, folks, that launch pad's at play and things get messy when you're holding on height. Now, first moving, Zone 6 has been revealed, and I'm thinking there's really not an advantage here. We'll see how the people who have been fighting for height adjust.
3 different layers to worry about. High ground can have the most control and can dominate the lobby, commandeer anyone. There's a big boss fight happening with Hen and Janice, so they're trying to get things started. As that goes through,
that's not getting chopped.
The high ground with Aqua, that is definitely not getting challenged. They've overbuilt all the way across. It's full metal and it's fully built too. At the same time, it's a max pull for these guys, it looks like. So anyone that's launch padding earlier or even just slightly later can jump on their builds and take over. Might be a trap they're setting too.
Hen, Janus, and Chapix have been eliminated. They are out of this fight here. Game 1 won't feature them in the top 17. That's just crazy.
One game of a mistake. It's all good, though. A big bait is Noah Riley and Vidil. Just actually launch pad all the way away. It looks like there's another team that takes height as the entire moving zone starts. So we're gonna have to take a little bit of a pit stop and get up there afterwards. Not used to being on mid ground. We'll see exactly how Aqua fears and kind of commandeers here. At the same time, they want to be all the way on height. They want to have control. They'll probably go for it again. It's 2 Scariachi and Stormy right who push up again, but they're up against Benji Fishy, and it looks like one person gets dropped into a box. They take him out fast, and now Benji showing Shadow. They might have a chance to go take over high ground.
Lurking right there at second from height, it is Trulix. They're right there, and they're biting for time as you're seeing the zone kind of bounce back just a little bit. So this is going to be a big build fight as Tooth gets hit. 84, he's going to give it up. He's going to move on through, and that could be Joe, Shadow, and Benji now holding height here. And Storm Surge has been revealed. 12 people have to go down, and yes, it is Benji, Joe, and Shadow on height.
All the chats across the world are probably super hyped right now for Benji, Joe, and Shadow, always wanting these guys to do so well inside the finals. They have that chance, but Trulex, Jerky, Queasy, no strangers to winning that first game. They're going to be the next challenge to overcome.
Shadow's going to be a big factor here. He's on the front side of the storm here, on the front side, just trying to make sure he finds connections. But right below, it is Trulix's trio. They're still there. And Benji, armed with this dangerous rifle here, sending beams. There's a pad. Oh, there it is. Queasy with the pad play. Joe, Benji are trying to put a defense to stop him right there. But here it is. The rest of the defending champions going to push Benji, Joe, and Shadow down into the madness.
Queasy was just a distraction. Trulix goes all the way up from the other side and takes it all the way to the top.
Oh,
now
no.
Comes down to Two's revenge there as Benji goes down. This is absolute tragedy for the trio that just looked like the best one in the lobby. Trulix, Queasy, Jerky, they're not done with winning the last FNCS. They want to win game 1 in this one as well, up against Centric and the CL combination. They're going for height too. They've done it in semis and qual weeks. They're trying to do it again. Shadow as a solo is lost towards the very low portions of elevation right now, up against the hill. Can't really build this way. He's trying to get something done. Trulix though, he's on height, still has a fight, and Queasy is there too. Jerky's still alive, and they can still reign as a trio, stopping another push.
You have to watch out. Aqua's trio is still a trio at full force, and look at the eliminations happening from them. And Trulix and Jerky, they get a confirm on Joe and Sapphic here, but I got my eyes. Yes, there it is. The fight at height. 12 for 12. You thought we're not gonna go away. We're back, baby, with the vengeance. And Queasy and Trulix are knocked. Now Jerky's the last one standing, and it's Vidil, Aqua. They're sitting on height, and they have it. They have it.
It's winners versus legends, and the legends pull through on height once again. You can see it in Aqua's name. He always wants to be here. Now it's about giving it away, dropping down, putting the pressure in. Remnants of previous trios who've been denied a pass to play in game one get taken out. It's Noah Riley with the final elimination, and Aqua alongside Vidil to win out that first game.
10 eliminations in the victory out in the big 5-0, big 50 on the board. Hey, man, we already seen it back last season in NA East. When you make a social media post like Reverse and you're saying, hey, man, I'm going to win this. And when you make a social media post and saying you're going to be 12 for 12 on height, you better come on through. And that's what Aqua, Noah Riley, and Vidil just did.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this right now. Expect the unexpected in this FNCS. There's too many teams that do not want to give up height and are not going to go down easy. Aqua is just one of them. Benji tried this game and almost had, a repeat of a game one win with Trulex's trio. So Sancho, anything could happen in these next 11 games.
Yes, I have to say this real quickly. Queasy's trio always wins game one. Not today. It's been changed.
Not today.
Not today. We're going to get a further breakdown from the analyst desk with Levin, Reese, and Zeke.
Gentlemen, I cannot deal with what is going on right now. This is not what I would have ever anticipated. Levin, in the back, we're losing our minds. You observe that Aqua is going up, and your first words were, this guy is crazy. He's going for it. And this trio just pulled out the win.
These guys are the real deal. I think you look at what they do, and it's so relentless. It doesn't end, and that's why, I'm saying he's not all right, because genuinely, these guys tried to get high earlier, didn't go well, and you think to yourself, okay, you tried your best, but, you give it up now. You see him going back up for it. And it works out, and they win the game. And it's like, if they're going to be playing like this, there's nothing you can do about them. If genuinely this is what they're going to do over the next 12 games, you can't stop them. They will just relentlessly go for height, and they will continue until they have it. And if they're hitting shots like that, they will get it, and then they will win. So, yeah.
But here you go. This is what that shows me is that they're calculated, because they had height. They realized that Kiriachi's team took it early on in that 6th zone, the first moving zone. They saw Kiriachi's team had claimed it. So they said, you know what, we're just going to give you. We're going to play low ground. We're going to wait until we see an opportunity, and we're going to take it up. That opportunity was actually predicted by Noah Riley on Twitter, right? Aqua says, we're going height 12 out of 12 games. Noah Riley comes on with a little tweet. He says, watch out for the Sapphic strat. Go on to height and be eliminated, right? Unfortunately, we did see basically exactly that early on, as once Queasy's team had taken it. So they've predicted it. They're calculated in the play style. They absolutely executed. And look, I'm excited to see how that continues throughout the day.
That's their high ground trigger, right? He's looking at the elimination feed. As soon as Sapphic gets eliminated, yep, we got to build up for height now. Madness.
So crazy, guys. Let's take a look at some of the replays that Reese and Levin have pulled to kind of better tell the story of game number one. What a banger!
Yeah, I mean, game number one was an absolute banger, and Benji Fish's team off the rip just absolutely flatlined through Exterios' team. Like, it was a pure 50-50, right? This is not what you ideally will see straight away in these kind of contested fights where teams just land all on the same house. They didn't want to split. They wanted 50-50, and Benji's team just came out on top.
Yeah, and look, we talked a lot about the Osborne stuff, right? Ezekiel absolutely getting put through the win cycle. Look, we talked about how these fights are going to take quite a long time, and that's going to be good for the teams around them to get involved in third party. If these fights are going to go on for so short amount of time, these teams aren't going to be able to get involved. They're not even going to get a lick of Storm Surge out of it, right? And that's going to be a very difficult thing for them. You can see Falls, Tiberia, 7 they stomped through, this Retail Row fight. Unfortunately for them, they didn't have the best of games, but if these fights are going to go down this quickly every single game, it's going to be really hard for the team trying to capitalize and get Surge off of it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what's one of the beauty things. They can keep winning off spawn. They can keep climbing up the leaderboards. One bad game, they got 11 left. It's not going to be the end of the world. But this is how the standings end up. Look after that first game. Vidil, Noah, and Aqua on height on the leaderboard as well. 50 points. I will say, when it came to their team, obviously excluding Aqua last season, they also won game one. They also won game one in the finals last season and then slowed down. So I don't want to see that. I want to see them keep on moving and keep on up there at that top.
Yeah, 100%, man. You look at the teams on this page, and a lot of them really impressed me. Joe, Benji, and Shadow, you know, sitting in 7th there, they had a really good game. I saw a lot from them that showed to me that, look, maybe this is a better team than the one we've seen in previous weeks, and then specifically the qualifier 1 week where they, you know, came first place. Really looking forward to seeing how they do. Let's take a look at the next page, sorry, as we look at 11th to 20th. You know, you ain't got to panic if you're on this page yet, but you do got to take a look at things and go, okay, what do we got to do better, right? Seti, Cami, and Teak, a team who I sort of thought maybe would have a super day today, and I think they still can, right, Reese? But they got to pick things up.
Yeah, I mean, for them, they've placed 12th with 2 elims, and, you know, characteristically a little bit lower on the elimination side, but, you know, a 12th is actually a pretty bad game for them, given how consistent they are and getting top 10s, top 5s, and things like that. So for them, that is, you know, not necessarily the telltale sign of their day and how it'll go. But realistically, you said, you know, you don't have to panic if you're on the second page. And, you know, you got like 9 games left before you got to panic if you're on that second page, depending on how far behind you get, obviously, at the same time. So realistically, like, these teams are ready to go. Like, let's just get into game 2. Come on.
Well, Reese, as you can see by the timer, we're pretty much ready to go. My goodness, can't forget Fortnite fam. We got 5 more games ahead of us, another 6 tomorrow, 2-day format. So see how this continues to unfold. Aqua's back, boys. That's my takeaway. Shy Wager, C2S7, back over to you guys.
Everyone is here in EU looking to take over Hype, but yeah, with Aqua, Vidil, Noah, Riley, Sancho, does anyone really have a chance?
We've seen it. I think the death said it best. Relentless. They are. Hey, you think normally you go down, boom, that's it. They're gonna be on the ground forever. But no, we've seen just as a duo, Aqua and Riley, continuously just poking at it. It's like a boxer, you know. They're getting those jabs in, bop, bop. All of a sudden, boom, overhand haymaker coming from height, taking out the rest of the lobby. So that's a very exciting start for all those people that know Riley, Vidil, and Aqua fans. The thing is, can they keep up the pace? We saw last season, of course, it's a new team, but we saw last season with Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Reason, they tried to keep up that pace, and all of a sudden they had to change their strategies for day 2. But here it is. That was, hey, you talked about pads. They needed that pad just to get on the right side here at Misty Meadows, but this is one of these engagements that we're gonna have to keep an eye on between the 2 French trios.
Absolutely. They're gonna be starting a little bit further away from each other, usually on 2 different sides, but everyone is here on the Meadows side of Misty. Floki with a nice combination of items to be able to start that fight, but note that when you're starting so close to another trio, mats are going to be so low on both sides. Every single ramp floor you place has to be done with the utmost intent for it to be used efficiently and just recycled by your whole team as well. Big explosion all the way through to X Squeeze, but nothing actually lands. He's gonna get rat-a-tatted by a few bullets, has to stay down. Anolex also waiting through. We saw Anolex take out Falconly's trio before over here. Floki, Clement, Deceptos, they'll alter the way they land down. Really want to challenge this one, and Floki's pushing forward.
This is definitely a lot cleaner engagement that we've been seeing from Floki, Clement, Deceptos in previous qualifiers and semifinals. It would just basically be going for a 50-50 on floor loot. But this just means, hey, good thing that zone is going to be here. They could definitely fight here a little bit longer, but whoever survives this is going to mess up their rotation so much here. Normally, these trios like to dip down south here and pick on that trio and or go all the way north to go to the gorgeous gorge to get some Storm Surge tags, but that's not going to happen when you have 2 strong trios fighting it out in Misty Meadows.
You have to recuperate things as well. You'll see the ebb and flow of this fight. Everyone will be trying to push forward, deal as much damage as possible. Big swings towards builds, big pinches, but then if it doesn't work out, they'll back up. They'll have to refarm, giving the other team a chance. It's kind of like we're watching a card game back and forth, but depending on how many resources you save up, right, you could just stay up and have a huge swing that surprises a team. Right now, Clement, Deceptos, Floki, kind of going back and forth. The energy's at a medium level, but right below them, a trap might be set.
Man, that was kind of scary right there. Squeeze, I feel like I was watching a scary movie. I was like, Squeeze behind you, there's Clement, he's there. But obviously he heard them. But as we're seeing the trades back and forth, like you mentioned, already we're seeing Corny Complex going blow for blow. We're seeing the, you know, some of the trios that went down early are now back on their feet. So that's what's going to happen. Instead of 12, you know, you may go down 1, but next game you come back. But that's what happens on these contested drops. They could basically tie. I mean, some of these trios are just, it just comes down to what do they have? You know, what kind of power weapons do they have? What kind of resources do they find? Do they find a llama? And that's what we're going to see, just like here, down here in Retail Row. And that is actually Trixie's trio coming all the way from Caddy Corner, sticking their nose into the Retail Row's business.
Yeah, these are two teams who are basically on offense at the same time. That means everyone on both sides will be taking lots of damage. Sai already down to 12 HP, popping bandages, waiting for his teammate to be able to build a little bit above him. I think they've gotten one elimination here so far, so it will be a little bit of an advantage for this team, but at the same time at a big cost. Sai almost out of mats. I would assume his teammates are kind of the same way, and no, they actually get Jaggy back up. He's ready to fight. Tens and Trixie, they're looking to make this more than just a final reboot round win. That's not going to be their legacy today. They want to do a little bit more, and they'll try to in reboot Jaggy, or they'll try to in the finals. Jaggy with a big shot. Sai looking to return the favor, but he gets clapped from the side. This is going to be tricky. Now these guys are basically put down to just 2 builds, and they're on fire. Sebre goes down on those wooden pyramids. This is just trouble. Miknap, I believe, has also been knocked, and boom, that's 3. That's what you call a slow burn. Jaggy, Tens, and Trixie went out retail row.
Can you imagine surviving on fire and getting clothesline, or as soon as you get a breath of fresh air? And Floki here with a great positional advantage and squeeze with a look at that angle, just a barely seen. It hits Floki just for a little bit. Now Clement and Floki are going to try to use this high ground just to hold on as much as possible to keep cranking to height here, because they know that they're just going to keep getting pulled down from and Alexis Trio, but still the headshot potential is here if they have this height here. An explosion rings on down below, and Alexis Trio may be looking to chop this structure down.
Yeah, what XWeez and Alex4ZR were doing this entire time is waiting for Floki, Clement, and Siptos to make a mistake. They're playing defense the whole way through. They've got the Siptos spaced off that.
Wow!
And they've got all the builds, 80 fall damage to Floki, a 92 shot, and then another bop. He's down. Up to Clement now in a 1v3. He gets no trades, and he gets taken out too. That's just a textbook breakdown. I think 4ZR was the cost of that, so Clement got a little bit in that trade, but they played excellent defense. They were looking for every angle to take a few shots, reserve the mats, and then had their big swing at the end and won Misty Meadows again.
What a great use of the elements right there to get that fire. You talk about the cost of 4ZR, but yo, they put 4ZR on a credit card. All of a sudden, hey, I got you. Yeah, I'm going to come back here, and here comes 4ZR. So that's definitely going to be the first time I would say that win. Whoa.
There's going to be another team flying right by Artskill. He's looking for it, and they hear that reboot. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. They know it's a 2v3, and one person's a little bit hurt, so they'll dive in for that. Reason, Taste, and Vino, though, outside of Believer Beast, they're looking to get their storm tags up, get their fight started, and right now, they're going full force. Another big shot from Reason. Doesn't actually have the follow through. Usually it's always active, but look at it. 3 different angles of engagement. He's blocking every single one, and Tayson's there to be able to pinch with Vino. Everyone is so reactive to be able to be exactly where they need to save their teammates, be at the angles to get free shots. FSI might have got one good tag in, but now he's in trouble. Surprise, surprise, is down as well. Now the hunt down comes through, and this is how you do top tier aggression. Floki tried it in Misty Meadows. The pinches weren't there. The damage never came through for Reason, Tayson, Vino. That wasn't the case. This is perfect offense.
If you're just tuning in, this is not game 1. That's game 2. Yes, they're just getting their first points here in the FNCS Chapter 2 Season 7. And I thought they didn't want a piece, but Child looks like they did want a piece. They take a big piece of 4ZR. Now Andalex, the next Weez here, no shields, and they're gonna have to use the way of the gun and their expertise to work through this. As XWeez goes down, the toes were just right then and there, and they've been fully eliminated. What a great third party from Expert coming down from the mountains. Basically, they heard the yodels and they went on down. They just added to the band a little polka dance there.
Tenzin also picked apart by Pink and Stompy, but right there, Misty Meadows, that's the cost of playing defense for so long. Yes, you can win your fight and it can go really well, but it costs so much time, and time is not something that's free when it comes to the grand, or the finals.
Yeah, speaking of time, you want to be out of there by 6 minutes. Traditionally, if you look at all the VOD reviews, normally trios from Misty Meadows, they're already gone by 6 minutes. They loop that up and they're gone. When you take that time, you said it, it gives the other trios to make their moves, and the game plan at 104. What, talk about a game plan with the hand cannon. Bang, that's a good hit right there. That's going to put the high alert on that blue antenna team on putt trick. But the point is, I want to say is, when you're looking at time is a huge factor. A delay, resources to mat up, and engagement at a drop spot. When you get delayed, all of a sudden that just allows other people to kind of move the chess pieces. It's like you always say, this is a game of chess, but imagine not being able to move while other people are making their moves around you. And that's what happened to Analex's trio.
People can take multiple turns. flip the rules on their heads, but now we'll see exactly what happens in game 3 for a lot of them. We're still on game 2. Ping picking up and Stompy picking up an elim each, so their mid game is going absolutely great. And we're gonna move off, make sure to refarm the brick that's available that they've used in a couple of fights. Those early fights are not over yet though. Sean, Andy, Chashi also making it through game 1 of the reboot. Andy with a crazy clutch now in the finals. In this mid-game fight, this might not be what they're used to doing. It might just be end-game expertise from this trio, but they're gonna have to win here at Coney Complex 2. There's a timer on this fight, Sancho. A minute 50 is when this next zone is gonna start moving in, and they have a long journey ahead of them. This is not gonna be somewhere they want to spend too much time.
Yeah, in the EU region, you already have people already standing there on the storm line. Sean VP's trio, you talked about it, had by far one of the best weeks for an FNCS trio. They won the Cash Cup, then later they went to the reboot round and qualified, like you mentioned, in a very highlight way. And hey, if you're wondering out there, people of the, I guess, Fortnite universe, where's Benji? Where's Shadow? Where's Joe? They've already been eliminated. Red Rush, Mappies, and Stereos already took care of that. So someone with a high place finish. And that's another thing that you have to put a feather in your caps there is drop spot contestant. You know, you get through once, you don't, it's the inconsistencies that they work their way through. But Mappy, Red Rush, and Stereos, they were contested throughout the entire qualifiers. They got in by holding on.
Absolutely. This is another player that holds on to Dako on screen, who used to be called Scally when we were watching him in those semifinals, right? This man played so well. Shout out to him for switching that name too. 100%, that's what we're looking for. One of the first instances, you know, getting that branding there for the finals. And what was huge for this man is, yeah, as a solo, he's so good at identifying exactly where to be when it comes to playing heal off, when it comes to choosing the best paths. And now in finals, that decision-making will be put to the ultimate test.
And shout out to Chatsy. I see you out there. You used to be L2 Archer Chatsy. Now you're back to your own self. That's what we want to see. Let us help you. You know, we're here to give you the spotlight. This is your stage, brother. And Doku is definitely going to be that man. He is the main actor here for this trio. And I've been just interesting. I mean, Flecken and Diablo, old trio mates, kind of trading back and forth there at the Shark and out there in the Fort Crumpet here. But Sapphic Patrick, just not enough. Man, every time I VOD review and I said, is it possible for Sapphic trio to do anything out of Dirty Docks? And I just didn't see it. Anytime a zone pulled north all the way to the West Coast, they struggled. And now that you have this quality of the lobby as Hen, Genesis, and Chapix, who definitely see those struggles, look at this aggressive rotation. They came all the way from Craggy. Instead of going down straight to the center like they normally do, they're rotating right in front of Default's path. And look at this, Mawaka's here too.
They're confident fighters, and they need to get into engagements to stay ahead of Surge. 246 damage above. This is their game plan. I don't think they accounted, though, for so many teams to roll in. Now there's more, I think, than 3 up in this fight, or it might just be 3 teams. This is where it kind of gets, you know, a little bit cumbersome to try to control everything that's happening. You have too many different parties, so many different brains operating at the same time. So Hen, Janice, Chapix, I stay here for a bit, maybe bully the trio in between, but then leave after the fact.
I just have to say this. Last FNCS, they were contested. They didn't have to worry about Storm Surge. Now you're seeing their Storm Surge plans in effect here, and it's getting them in troubled waters.
I mean, they were experts at fighting off the spot. They're experts now at fighting in that mid game too. Just saw a big projectile fly by. Not sure who's throwing those jars and has an arm that can throw things that far, but we'll watch exactly what's going on down here at base. Chapix looking for another way to come in. Looks like they're just controlling the complete backside of this, so no matter what team they're fighting, they're keeping the entire fight in front of them. No pinches as a result, but they get to keep all their firepower on the same line. It's genius to basically control 2 teams, making them into one.
Yeah, Zest and Trio, they're coming in. They're about to pinch in right here. And if you get a little bit to the right side of the screen, that was the Loot Boys. They were pushing into that engagement. And now we're taking a look at Taste and Reason and Vino. And Reason has already been knocked in this fight. I'm just quite surprised. I need to know what happened to this trio in game 1. I've seen Hijo, like I mentioned, that pinch was there. They pick up Janice and get a knock.
It's the cost for going for damage. I feel like these 3, although they had an amazing fight in that first game, now when they're kind of in the home zone looking for some place to just defend at the same time, it's like very tough for them to get from one fight to the next, to be able to deal damage unscathed completely. People will get knocked here or there. Okay, I thought that was someone they were boxing towards the top. This teammate rolling down like, wow, that was really fast. Genius. All good. Hen, Janice. Do I even see Chapix right now? They might have gotten in trouble all the way back on the zone line. He's reviving him right now, and Janice is down. This is trouble again.
The saving grace of this moment is Milwaukee's trio, who did disengage, did it like a Yui when they saw the feed, and they came back into this fight. Hydro now paying attention to the other side, gets a knock on Andy here. Surprise, Hen gets a tag there to let him know, but that may be one of those tags that maybe you don't throw right there, because now you let the other trios know that there's one person there. Short pad gets right in front of Default. Default doesn't see them, and Hen, he's gonna have to be the solo star to carry this trio again, and we're gonna see not a great point total in the second game for the Hen boys.
Look at Chopix, 1 HP. He had to go way back into the storm because he didn't half pad that launch. So now trying to catch up with Hen, trying to be on the same page. He's at literally a sliver of HP. So it's a 0 on the actual.
How is that possible?
It's a fraction of that 1 HP. This man is living when he's not supposed to. The one shot will take him out. He has to play perfect here. And look at that, a purple bump down to 15 shields. Lobby focus. He gets through. Okay, completely taken out. Hen tries to help him, but man, Chopix, I mean, defying the laws of Fortnite, staying alive right there.
Okay. Wow, I can't believe Hen, Janice, and Chopix with the aggressive rotation towards Default's path, and it just didn't turn out their way, as you're seeing Noah Riley getting knocked by Stormy. I was wondering, this is Boney Burbs, bro.
Yeah, no, we called in the game 1 in terms of Hen, Janice, Chopix, right? A lot of people will be looking for damage, but if they spend too long in these fights, they lose position, they lose grasp of that whole game. If a third party comes in, your overall plan might get thrown out to the trash, and Falconly again, he gets dumpstered. ZQ2 now left over to Kezix. He's in trouble too.
Here comes Boo back here to take out some of the remaining moments of that fight. Another jump shot. Right, a big splash on your screen as Kezix retreating. He has a flopper. He has the insta-bull. You can definitely use it to get away from this fight, trying to hide in the trees. Very aware of that. Gets him out as Kylie Boo back there are going to go ahead and make a safe haven for Aware as they move it on through. But look at this, man. Default's trio out, Clement trio out, Benji's out, Siberia's trio's out, Andalix out, Hen out. Some big names already out of this fight.
Yeah, there's about 4 teams now that are left near that top 10 that can really start to pick up in consistency, get points. Aqua's trio's one of them. Pinks is one of them as well.
Bro, a very aggressive game too. Look, only 63 people up. It's very aggressive here. I mean, last time it took a little bit longer just to get into these engagements, but so many people dropping like flies.
Yeah, a lot of these big spots are contested. I feel like everyone's kind of seasoned now, playing qualifiers, semis, and reboot in terms of how to do things at their spot. They don't need 2, 3, 4 games to figure out what to do next. That plan B is active at a snap now in game number 2.
And Chassis, not even on plan B anymore. Maybe completely out of plans. The Loot boys there who were kind of pinched Chopix and Hen and Janice into that tough situation. As you're seeing another tough situation here as Aqua is down. The deal is up. Okay, there it is. Aqua's getting back to full front. What do you see?
This is the big thing about this kind of fight. It's lore based. These guys were both contesting each other on height in the last game. Now in prepping to get to that spot, they clash again. So it doesn't matter what layer they're on. I feel like today we'll be watching a lot of Stormy 2's Kiriachi versus Aqua, Noah Riley and Vidil.
We saw a renaissance for Kiriachi here in the previous seasons. Kiriachi was making some big splashes, big waves per se in the previous season, and especially making a big surprise here, utilizing the mobility of Spicy Fish even, and now he's using the hot pepper. So yeah, they were always at height as well too. So that's what we're talking about in the opening of the show. So many people with the game plan of going to height here, and you're seeing there, the 259 below, that means there's a team out there that's on very in shambles and is going to be quickly eliminated as 13 people need to go down to a Storm Surge. Kiriachi's trio is looking really good at 263 here, but look at this cacophony of box fighting that's about to occur.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of people trying to stay safe, not editing any walls. We saw what happens with Mega if that ever, is the case. If you have a metal ball in front of you, Storm Surge just gets active. You're at the zone line, and you reset one of those builds, you become a target. So for everyone over here, if they're above, they're probably going to stay silent, look for anything to punish. The people below, they'll be looking for the aggression.
you may be wondering, why is Aqua's trio so far out of the central Bony Burbs? Well, part of the Storm Surge plan is to go to the south into that triangle between Weeping Woods and Bony Burbs, and in kind of like the dish area there. They go into Defiant Dish. They go there to look for the Storm Surge tags. So now they went back home, and all of a sudden everybody has moved in. They squatted under most of their spots, and that's why they didn't have the advantage, and that's why they're in duos and they're in shambles, because Storm Surge is going to be a factor for them. And Revsguard and Dread Savage here, big trouble coming out of Steamy.
Yeah, it looks like Andretta might have gotten sniped overall, and this is not going to be good because his knocked body will start to get damage done from the skies. They are so below Shurs right now. Need 2 to 3 tags, and Dread doesn't have to just keep heal gaming these shields. It's tough.
And this tells me here, folks, game 3, I'm expecting Mr. Savage trio to push up right against Malibuca and take it right there, because they're going to say, man, we're way below Storm Surge. What are we going to do? Easy answer, attack Malibuca. They're right there.
Yeah, I mean, look at Savage too. He's tried to get a few tags every now and then, baiting out shots with that inflatable and maybe even absorbing one from the skies from Surge. Now Andretta has been taken out. He's not going to be able to get picked up. Savage down to his final second. He gets knocked down too. The full trio eliminated as Revsguard falls privy to another shot. And how? I mean, we're weeding out all the weak trios whose game plans have not worked out in game 2. Let's focus on some of the strong ones. Splash is here as a duo. Kiriachi operating on low ground. Everyone getting into that last zone before we start to move. This is where things get real.
Last season, Kiriachi had a great day 1. Very consistent. They were in the top 5 when in, and they were one of those trios that we never really saw on the broadcast. And at the end of the day, they were up there and we're like, hey, wait a minute, these guys are doing really good. And now they're on the spotlight and they're doing really well. And you talked about the game plan. Look at them. They have 37 points. They got a pepper in this match here. Ooh, and they're chasing, I believe that's Vidil's. Yes, that is Vidil eliminated. So, hey, the big top players from the previous one, that was first place, already gone in match 2.
Now, one of Aqua's jet engines malfunctioning for this end game. That height trio is not going to be as speedy, as powerful, taking towards the sky. Steady taken out too by Expert. The Southside team taking apart so many legendary names over and over again. Tayson, Reason, and Vino. They're fully, just ready as a trio to go. 7 eliminations. They've used a lot in their inventory to get to this point, but they still have so much more to deal out.
Oh man, this rotation is so clean. It's so clean. No one's there. Look at this, and now they have height basically for free. This is the game right here that Tayson, Reason, and Vino have to capitalize, considering that Aqua is gone. That was
one
hot.
time to be able to hold height, but at the same, you're looking at it. We see it every game. If it's not Aqua, there'll be another team ready to take that spot. Go for high ground. Tayson, as a result, overbuilding. He's not going to get caught lacking by any of these launch pads. Everyone's moving through, and this is the strength of having a base built so fast. They'll give it up slightly. It's all good. I think Reason might still be fighting for it. No, he does. He tries to. He gets taken out by Toasty, and at the same time, Elder's there too. He takes out Tayson, and this height hold is an absolute fail as Vino is left last alive towards the front side of the zone.
Bro, it's like when you go to the beach and you have a bag of chips and all the seagulls come out of nowhere to pick at your chips, and Vino and Tayson and Reason had the most delicious chips sitting at height, and all the birds came out of nowhere as Kiriachi takes the knock, and Pinks, Stompy, and Nebs, they're still in the feed here as Vino dives right down below. I know the Olympics just happened, but what a great dive from height.
I mean, don't count Vino out. If there is one trio that has that clutch factor, the potential from any one of the players, it might be that one. We'll tune in with just a bit because Kiriachi, Stompy, Toos might not be, just breathing that high air right now. They might be playing out low for this game. They're doing it still so well. Kiriachi down to 18 HP, following this river. We just saw Vino fall here before. Option for a boat, but he decides not to ride, going towards the right side, looking with his team. He was leading the chart before, but now he's weak at the back. Any points of pressure he could poke for these other trios are built near the back. Any edits and boom, there. The support Toos tries to take a big shot, but doesn't land. They're at a very good spot right now. If zone bounces back, this is gonna be huge for the trio. They play low ground so well.
And Vino is a solo right now all by himself. He got an elimination right here, and placement points are being doled out for every team that goes down here. And Vino gets a knock on Trulix. That's what you want to see. But right here, second place, what you're seeing right now is Stompy's trio with Nebs and Pink looking good. Astro Rifle and Save It there on the low ground on the front side. They will be in the end game as well as Vino here. This is what we're talking about. 9 eliminations. The clutch. Hey, he got a knock. Nicely done.
Yep, affecting trios all the way towards the very end, but second place is the focus right now, and they are on high ground. So many different trios left with solos down below. Deuce can't even fit into the pyramid. That's how awkward that big elevation is, and now we'll see these guys just beaming left, right, center. There's just one other trio left and a duo they have to take care of. How will Stompy, Nebs, and Pink approach this situation? We have the zone slowly moving now, what looks like all the way back, so every single person who's alive gets to utilize their old builds again. Kuma's too generous with it though, and he gets beamed, trying to go towards the backside. Another angle from Stompy. I mean, this is home for him. He's been doing this season after season. He was there with Aqua when they ended up winning out an entire FNCS, so he knows exactly how to operate off of high ground. Boom, and there it's that confirmation. Now, Save It and Astro, the last line left for this trio to take over. They're trying to cross it in just a little bit, getting closer and closer. The pressure comes first, then the dive. There it is, another one. Once they touch the ground, it's going to be over for Astro. They'll have to do something, land a pump, get some pressure, build for the back. But Stompy sees it. He turns around 180, signals that, hey, there's no one there. I'll go for these builds, build back up. They'll win this war of attrition, take it all the way towards that zone close.
30 seconds right here, and we're gonna see the Victory Royale in Nebs and Pink Stompy's hand. It's gonna take a collapse, or they're gonna lose this Victory Royale, but Save It and the duo mate right there are doing really well. Astro and Save It here, elongating this fight here, because all it takes is one big pump.
Yep, and Stompy's down to one build left. This is where Astro has to make his move. Chuck cannons are active too. Pink goes down. They're going for the dive. They have the block though. Big shot, left, right, center. It's not enough. Stompy wins it out.
Nicely done. And with the game of 9 eliminations and the Victory Royale, you talked about Aqua's experience alongside with Stompy right there on height, but that was some great gameplay that we have here. And again, Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, I think Reese said it at the outset, didn't have a great qualifiers, but all of a sudden semifinals, they come like, remember, we were like, hey, Default's going to win this. It's all of a sudden Pink, you know, and Stompy and Nebs, they come all over and they kind of take that #1 spot away. And one thing I got to say is, Pink, remember way back in the like season 5 days, alongside with Trulix, they were always contesting height too. So you're seeing that happen again. The height teams are working out for them, Shio.
Yeah, very different flavor of game. Let's see what Zeke, Levin, and Reese have to say about that one.
Guys, finals are so different than anything else we experience. I love this constant battle for height. I love that in every step and every action any trio makes, it feels so intentional, right? There's so much intention behind everything they're trying to do. Now, sometimes another trio's like, hey, we know what you're trying to do, and we're gonna go ahead and shut that down. But still, I love seeing every single play that is made. You can just tell there's so many like calculations running through the player's mind with every action. Every time they pull the trigger once to send a shot out, they're thinking, is this the right play? Is this the person I need to be shooting? Do I need to be moving? Do I need to be looking up? Do I need to be looking down? It's crazy, Levin. It's so good.
Yeah, and look, props to Pink, Nebs, and Stompy. Brilliant when they had a good first game. Now this game to get the victory. I got a chance to meet Pink in person before semifinals,
No
right?
way.
Yeah, nice guy. And I remember people went out and they went to like party at, you know, like a little house party type thing. And the first half an hour of the party, he's upstairs in the bedroom, VOD reviewing. And I'm not saying that, you know, to banner him or anything. Yeah, look, I'm not saying it's a banner, but people are bannering him like, what are you doing, mate? You know, you got to enjoy yourself, have some fun. He's laughing now. Look at him, he's in the finals of FNCS. He's going to be on top of the leaderboard, I'll tell you that much, right? So it's just a second game, but that is the sort of mentality that these guys have. Very hard working, and it's paying off here in the most important day for it to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, a second in game #1, now the Victory Royale in game #2. Not only are they going to be in first in the leaderboard, they're going to be in first by a long shot, I would expect. So for them, 10 games left, like they're setting themselves up so well to even just already get a top 10.
So insanely good, guys. There's so much that I want to talk about. You know, one of the things that I've really enjoyed is the fight for height. And I feel like out of that game #1, we kind of take it back to the Trulex and his company. There was this crazy height retake that they just saved.
Yeah, you can see right now, firstly, Queasy, pads on height, right? We saw this from the other POV, kind of from Benji's POV, but what kind of actually happened here? You can already see it happening, right? Queasy hits the launch pad to go all the way up, and you can see the positions that Joe, Benji, and Shadow are in currently right now. They're already on height, and you can see that Queasy's obviously gone up. That launch pad will take you 35 meters up, and Queasy's already figured that out, so he'll be able to land straight on Joe, and Joe's a little bit unaware of what actually is going to happen. But if we play for a little bit longer, you can see one very, very important thing. You see Queasy cranking up on the high ground, right? They get shot out, but it's fine. Now, what's really important here? Truelex is at the front of Storm, same with Juriki. Now, look, they're going to start spraying back onto Shadow, onto Joe, onto Benji, while Queasy just takes the height, holds it up, and from that angle, they have a full pinch and a full complete height take from there on out. So very, very easy for them just to fully kind of take one person to pad up on height and have the other two just kind of stay at the front, spray them back, get a full pinch, and easily take height.
So sick.
And that's the beauty of the game now, right? Where it's evolved, where you have these sort of executes, right? To be able to take high ground. That's well rehearsed and it pays dividends as well. But Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, of course, like we said, sitting in first place, 90 points as well. You know, a bit ahead of Kiriachi, Stormura, and Toos. What a way to start the tournament.
Yeah, it's crazy. And for Kiriachi's tournament and Toos, like their bread and butter is being super consistent in the placements, but they're popping off on the eliminations right now too, which is crazy. Vadil, Noah Rayleigh, and Aqua also in third. So that kind of placements underneath that are starting to get very, very close already. Some of these players are really starting to get their points. So if we look over to the next page at the same time, we're going to see Volky, Clement, Deceptos at the top, who we've been seeing fighting in that spawn a lot in Misty Meadows. And then in 13th, Vino, Tace, and Reason, not having the best games. They had a fantastic, and I mean fantastic, height take when it came to the first move in this game, going dead side, really just kind of capitalizing on the fact that there was no one there on that side, taking height, but unfortunately, like, you know, they just got landed on by Toasty's team. They didn't have that anti-launch pad protection up so early, so could have been a bigger game for them, 100%, but still, you know, plenty left.
Yeah, and look, that game was a game filled with a lot from the big teams where it was like a bit almost disappointing, right? Where you sit there and you have to be critical when it's such a big stage. And you look at Anderlex's team taking too long to fight in Misty, Tayson and Reason getting caught unawares on height. Like, these are things you have to correct going into the next game.
That's right. And we only have 10 more ahead of us, 4 for the day. Let's get ready to jump back into the action. Sancho West Shrowager, back over to you, boys.
Thanks so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. That first game, everyone's going through kind of fast. The second one slow. Are we ready to step on the gas again, Sancho?
Absolutely. This is where it is. I mean, I think the best thing that Levin said is, you know, we got to be critical of these big names. You know, during the break, I said to you, like, a lot of big names went down very, very early. And the thing that's been consistent so far has been Kirachi and Pink, and they're riding high at the moment here. But one thing I got to say for all those Aqua fans out there is, like, this is the kind of play style that you get when you go for high all the time. Sometimes you're going to be able to cash in, but mainly at the time, the house wins. And all of a sudden, you're going to be sent out with nothing, nada. And hey, you're still in third place here, but hey, Pink, Nebs, and Stumpy, they have a huge lead considering it's about 21 points or so, but hey, we still got 12 to go. And look, Swee's already picked up the pressure, getting a knock on Clement. So hey, they realize that they got to get rid of that fight faster, and they already great start there in Misty Meadows.
That Misty Meadows fight will go very different ways throughout both days. Benji, Shadow, and Joe also kind of afflicted off spawn. Benji looking to take that big transportation down below, get a lot more loot, get situated before really jumping in for the fight. Shadow might have a different plan entirely. Might be a parasite he's using, or it might be shots already taken near him for, you know, this movement to start to occur.
No stranger to being contested off drop. Benji is, and now there is a big fight down in that base. We definitely have to go back into that fight because Benji's by himself. Yes, Benji's down by himself in that base. And the Stereos now, Mappy and Red Rush, I think they used that portal. They used that porta potty. They kind of came right in here because there's no way Benji did not know that was happening. Yeah, see, that's where they came in. That's the way they came into this fight. They portaled right into there.
Found a way there, found a way to flank two, and then quickly get out. So it's not going to be the worst for these guys, but a few shields they'd probably want to use all the way towards endgame going to be taken away. A launch pad for Benji to find too, so I mean, it's definitely marketable.
And at the same time, this is what happens. You know, you did really well. They're in the top of the board. One drop being so early sent them down all the way to 17th place or so. So that's a big slide. They dropped 11 spots, dude. 11 spots after being eliminated so easily as Ingram picks up a knock on Koro down in those central mountains.
Towards these early games, every time you end up, you know, and when I say early games, like the earlier games in the tournament overall, when you make mistakes here or there, you definitely have a big swing inside the standings. Shouldn't be the biggest thing for all the teams focused on. Big fight though over here in Lazy Lake. No team gone down yet. Stompies might be the first as they're up against Falcon Lee. All right, and we'll see exactly what happens next for both these teams. Lazy Lake fights when these brick floors and walls burn. It's not the end of the day, but they do offer a little bit of distraction for Neps to get in the way. A big shot on Falcon Lee. He's down. Now focusing on the next one. It's Kezix up top. Height will not keep you safe, my friend. A few more AR tags will keep him suppressed as Neps dives back in, supporting for Pink. This man can do it all. He gets elims. He protects. He attacks. And at the same time, while doing all of it, man is looking like an absolute snack with this movement. Still going all the way around. He's the only person in this entire trio who hasn't used any shield or heal so far. Active as Kezix goes down once again. The pressure on the ZQ to follow with his team. Ooh. They get the finish on the knock and the next elim too. That is huge.
Wow, Stompy with those beams sent through, and now we're seeing another west zone up here. It's going to be a Coral Castle. So now you're going to see, look, all these teams that traditionally Misty Meadows, they kind of roll on through to Holly Hatchery, and now you have Taste and Vino. You mean when they're confident and they're cooking, Reason, Vino, and Tayson, it goes far south all the way to Logjam. Sometimes they go to Coral Castle. But right now, you know, Flecken's trio and Diablo's trio right there. They're putting up a decent fight. You got Matzo up there in Pleasant Park. And of course, you have Aqua down there in Boney Burb. So those are the teams that have the advantage. But definitely, you cannot forget about Hen, Genesis, Chapix, who a big part of the Storm Surge strategy was kind of rolling into that stealthy stronghold formerly known as up there. And that's just not happening this games here. Wings' trio, I guess is just a little too scary for them to take that fight because, hey, Shiloh, that works so well for him, Genesis Chapix here. And now this is going to be a huge problem here. This engagement, we already seen the zone being revealed and the 50-50s are happening here. And Savage is getting beamed down by AR spray up close. Too much to handle now, and then Dread and Revscard. And look, Hottie's here. I believe Hottie's here. And if Hottie's here, that is part of their strategies too. They are known to third party go right into Steamy Stacks, and this is going to get really messy here quickly, and it already has. Elo Crossair knocking on the back door of a ramp right now, and Indretta definitely not expecting that here, as this is not going to be good for the formerly second place team coming into this season.
Yeah, Savage had a very good trade, but when you're dealing with a team that wasn't even part of the initial negotiations, everything just becomes a disaster. Looking for that pickup still is going to be possible. Savage will have a medkit to use as well and get all the way towards the top. These guys are kind of barriered in, so it'll be a nice little time before they finally see the sun. At the same time, they're not going to have that many builds to be able to work with once they get out, so they have to pick the perfect timing, possibly try to run away entirely. The Stripper and Elocrat's Hottie, this team that's coming in, they have all the materials they would need, the firepower. They're gone though. They got what they needed, and that was one Elam. They're chasing another from a team they know is weaker than Savage's right now. I mean, Savage on low bills, he should just be thankful, back up, farm a little bit, and then move out.
Oh man, talk about a sweet revenge for Hottie's trio picking on Andretta's trio. Last season, it was Hottie on the other side of those pickings, considering they're uncontested, as Hottie gets an elimination on Shizo here. But this is the battles out here in the home zone here of Coral Castle, of Fortnite Wings and Karmi making the rotation through. And I would definitely have to say that this is the stronger trio versus the ones that are kind of out there in Coral Castle. And the Shark here, considering that they had all that time in the damp dish, in the deep woods dish. Hey, I'm just surprised here that Floette and Wings and Karmi, 45 points. Normally when you're in a heat that is not as with the big names here and you stand up on top, you kind of like not necessarily dismiss them. You just go, well, you know, they did really well in semifinals. Not quite sure what they're going to do here in a set lobby for the finals. So far, 45 points. Great start to day one.
I feel there's a lot of teams who are trying to do so much on the top side, the teams that we would expect to be near the top. As a result, in game two, a lot of those tries failed, and a bunch of teams like Karmi's, Full Net Wings, you know, like Aware, Bubak, and Kylie, they roll in and take the points that, you know, those top teams are used to taking. So they keep that up. They play passive and choose to attack at the right times when other teams make mistakes, who knows? Karmi could even just end up top 5 or winning this FNCS.
Yeah, and the Heats here, like I mentioned, they got first place, 187 points. They got a Victory Royale, and they averaged 7 limbs. And it was because they were contested out there in the Deep Woods dish, and they were able to push into third party Pleasant Park. So now you're seeing an adjustment here that they're making now, contested into Coral Castle. And then we definitely have to see where the zones can develop here. And if it goes up here into Coral Castle, that's going to be one of those chaotic in-games that we have had a taste in the Chapter 2 Season 7. This is only Game 3 here that we're watching here of 12. There's first 6 games happening Saturday, of course, it's today, and then tomorrow another 6 happens. And what's quite interesting here is all the pros that you see on social media say that the nerves come back and they cannot get any sleep when they think about day 2. They lie in their beds and they kind of, you know, war plan in their mind what they need to do in the game day 2, and that just keeps them up at night. I mean, I'm up all night, you know, just thinking about what they're going to do as well.
So many options, you never even know who's switching what, so there's an infinite amount of possibilities for that switch up on day 2. The focus for all these guys so far right now is in number 1, lots of mistakes to fix already. In game 1, some people look top tier. In game 2, I guess balance came through and a lot of mistakes were prevalent for some of these top teams.
Hey, and Save It, man, last season, it was just nasty. Their Blaster, they were fighting out there in Weeping Woods, and they were instantly getting eliminated. It was going back and front. Save It right now in 4th place. Now we're going to those teams they're talking about. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement here. They're being contested down in Misty Meadows. They're splitting it right now. And look at it. Ugh. It's just right there, that rotation coming all the way to the south, to the north here. And they run it again. What is Kylie and Aware doing today? Boo back there, you talked about it. You said it the best. Those trios are just taking points where they can find it.
They're playing hyper just sensitive as to when people can make mistakes or where they're going wrong when they're adjusting things. All these people at tier 2 job spots, or, you know, POIs that might not be the most powerful, who just have set strategies and count on them every season. Come inside the top 20, the top 15. Might be the chance for them now in this season to come top 10, top 5, because so many people are just trying to take the lead. The people who are just trying to play consistently, they're coming out on top and just reaping the benefits from everyone else's mistakes.
Seven towards Siberian Force, trying to make up some of the mistakes of their day. 13 points. You see Jaggy Trixie's trio out there from Caddy Corner. Surprised, man. A team that was basically out of the running when it comes to the reboot round, consistently getting ousted by Sun's trio, getting in the last game 4. And that's why they're here. But throughout the entire season for Tenzin, Trixie, and Jaggy, they were always going for those hot drops there at Caddy Corner. And so, but when they get out of there, when they're able to third-party retail row, execute their Storm Surge plan, and as you're seeing here, they could do something. They could be one of those teams that all it just needs is a couple of 3 games to get in there, and they're right in the running for the championship. Will it be possible? Hard to say. You know, it's hard. That's what I'm saying. Like, new names, it's hard to put your, you know, to place your interest in them in terms of their predictions, right? I mean, will they? You never seen it. You never seen them perform at this high level before, and hey, they're at least they could say that we're doing pretty decent.
I mean, I think this team needs like an airdrop that has a lot of mats in it, because that's the first focus for these guys. Mistakes aside and game plans for the next on the back burner for them. They need to focus on this game right now. Siberia is already so low. Looks like they're desperate on that inside rotation as well. Change up though for Enchapix Janus. Once they get a zone that's a little bit closer to home for them near Craggy, they start to activate in different ways. In the last game, they tried to go for the hunt, had a little bit of a showdown with different teams, and it went a little bit sour. Now they'll choose to base up instead at a hemisphere of Pleasant Park all towards themselves and look for shots on different teams. Now we'll see the POV of where they were in the last game. So close to other trios, going for box fight. Seti's here, Mappy's here, so many different trios active outside to play on the park. And wow, Exterios is already down. They're going to be getting a few trades and some loot. The reboot should not be possible at this point either. Every fight here will just be so messy.
Every time when it comes to FNCS finals, there's a group of trios that just rotate all together, and that's what's happening right here with Red Rush, Mappy, and Stereos, and Cammy Sedetik. Every time we tune in, we have a nice drone shot. Cammy Sedetik are like in the middle of all of this mess, and that's why they're not finding success throughout today here. They're just way in the middle of the pack here, and Mappy now is going to soon be a solo here, considering that Red Rush is just without any shield. Xweez picks up a knock on Save It, so that trio just straggling into the zone gets confirmed basically right there, and Kylie is still cooking. Void eliminated.
Highly active here in game 3 of the day, looking really good, but at the same time at a cost of positioning. This zone is moving fast. They're right onside that line. It'll be fine for them because no one's even focused on this side. It'll be fast working Karma's POV, and we're watching right below, and Bubak beamed on the back of Awares. He's held to get all the way in. All good though, is they'll have that revive available, but it's on the last seconds. No, Bubak ends up going completely down. Too much pressure from the backside, and now Fastaroki, I mean, this is what he's good at, cleaning up not only games but trios in front of him. He'll look to do it here on a 2v2 that's very even playing fields for them, and they know this. We'll probably see this fight out the whole way. It's 4 guaranteed points here, plus the placement or the risk of a clutch later on. I feel like this fight is so much better for him to take, and just 30 damage of a punishment there on a pickaxe whiff of the wall. It's not that bad either.
After this engagement, they have to go through the gauntlet of the punishing Pleasant Park. So that's what's at stake for them later on the day. If they just kind of get through here, you see Kirachi making a really, really cold zone, kind of dead side rotation out in the distance here. You see Siberia, who just got back to his feet right below him. Patrick, Default, and Sapphic here. We're trying to see them move up their leaderboard. They're still within the running. At least clocking in 42 points coming out of Dirty Dogs. And this is really good for them, considering that this is a zone that does not favor them. And I've already mentioned that they tend to struggle with these kind of zones. They're doing okay here in match 3.
Definitely a good footing overall, but they want to separate themselves from the pack. That's what these guys are used to doing. Tayson taking out Jerky as Janice helps from the other side. Get the other third of the trio down. So lots of different things happening inside Pleasant with the beams. People getting desperate, trying to get ahead of things this early on in the game. Pushing with the launch to catch up with the game too. We'll get all the way closer to what's going to be a stealthy stronghold ending. Now, if you guys are not familiar with how this POI breaks down, all around it, it's unpenetrable, invulnerable walls that you're going to have to either scale over or you can't move through at all. So low ground's going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, I talk about low ground, we'll see height in front of our screens too. Will be height in just a little bit. Vidil, No O'Reilly, and Aqua, they'll be playing this zone very well, but this zone will entice everyone to reach towards the skies. Anyone that's trying to get control of high ground, i.e. this trio, are going to be dealing with even more trouble.
And now you're seeing there that Vidil, Nora Riley got game 1. I remember that one that was down way out there near Caddy Corner, those mountains, and that was just one of those intense battles happening there. So that's going to be what's on stake here, but that's not the past. This is the present, and the present right here, as you mentioned it, the low ground's not going to be a factor considering the stress. It's literally right in Southeast Toronto. It's like the perfect circle right over this entire thing, and I think Wings is definitely going to have a great advantage, but look at what they're gliding to, and at least they get it to a decent layer. If a deal could kind of just get back with his trio mates, that's going to be a nice rotation here as we're going to get to zone forwards reveal very shortly.
We'll barely get in right now, so and it's a big cost to stay inside even for the rotates. I mean, what is the result of that cost? It's a pretty good base. They're still going to have to move.
It's a decent pool too.
A little bit more central. We're right into the stronghold. They're ahead and above of everyone else. Andalex below them. Towards the right, looks like Sean and Andy are putting their bid in for height. Expert there to the interrupter, stopping trios in their path.
If Wings' trio, this is literally in their backyard. This is in their house, essentially. This is their opportunity to get the victory out. If the question would be, did they extend too far when they were looking for those Storm Surge tags? That would have to keep an eye on as we're getting closer to Zone 5.
See the squeeze effect about to happen with so many trios outside of the zone. Many of these, members might get fractured moving in. Everyone's gonna have to move forward. There's not gonna be enough space, and Toos is denied a launch pad. He's gonna use that little bit of a bop to fly towards the left side. The team below him expects it though. It's gonna be fine. Kiriachi's over the wall, so unable to come back and help Toos. Will cost him a lot more mats than, they might have wanted at the start of this, and it feels like Kiriachi got the same treatment. Stormy right with the pad moves in first. Aqua though gets knocked inside his base. How did that happen? These guys were so safe and secure. I guess once they started to move and get, go for their second foothold here, and Stealthy was just tough for them overall.
Yeah, the stealthy walls are just a huge hurdle right here. Elder right now is being greeted by Kirachi, Tus, and Stormy Ride. Elder holds as much as possible, and Toasties here coming from the backside gets greeted again and eliminated out the door. Tusi, Kirachi, and Stormy Ride working really well together, and because the way the stealthy stronghold works, a lot of sight lines are going to be blocked by these trees. So Tus, Kirachi, Stormy Ride, 4 eliminations and a lot of loot at their disposal.
Squeeze effect has come in for a lot of trios on the south side. Their mats will not be the highest. For some people who just got in, their HP might not be the best. That's Kiriachi's POV right there. 4-0 Squeeze and Analex on the bottom left. They've done really well to keep themselves hidden all the way up till this point. Expert inside these builds as well. Aqua looks like might have got sniped up top on this base because there's no sign of damage on these builds at all. So he gets revived as well at the cost of a few healing materials, med kits, and shields.
I think it was a sniper shot that knocked Aqua. It was a sniper shot. That's why he was able to get back to his feet. I did hear a shot. Then I saw him get knocked. But hey, he's on height. He's vibing. 407, 400 above. And now it's a max pool. So they can't hold this here. But that rotation on the left side, if you look at the mini map on the left side, folks, it's kind of clear. But there's so many people at the starting line of this rotation. They have All-Eye who moves first. I like what Analex is doing. Using that tree line right there. Just going to be able to clean rotation on foot, basically. And you see Joe's trios, Shadow and Benji, just right in front of him as Hen picks up elimination on Chashi.
That Chashi pickup is huge in terms of where Chashi was positioned. It was towards the right side also on a high base. Tayson gets Sean. So Janice and Tayson have just been taking out the same trios over and over again. Looks like those two teams are also moving towards the same sides. Max rotation for everyone though. Here goes Kiriachi with his PO of it on low ground. Aqua will have a much larger and further dive with it, going all the way from a higher vantage point on height. But it looks like it's Savage who's controlling this north side. No need of stacks this time to be able to do it. The steam will be there just from the blood that's boiling from them missing out on those first 2 games. This will be the one where they come back.
Aqua padded perfectly onto the wall, but now he's in trouble on the bottom right of your screen. He tried to hold out as much as possible, but it was 4ZR and Alex who tend to rotate always early there. The early bird gets the eliminations for them, and Vidil and Noah Riley are going to have to operate as a duo. On the top right of your screen, it is Kirachi. There's still a full force trio here as zone. It's about 10 seconds or so about to completely close. And a majority of the trios, you talked about being fractured. Right now, there's a crack in the shield for Deal Nora, right? They're, for some reason, never really getting pushed, and they get the revive again off.
Yep, the med kit will be there for Aqua. We'll be able to get it all the way through, and this will be huge. They pull zone again, so much time for them to be able to not only just waste with these heals, getting Aqua back on track, but using to be able to track patterns of people above them, contest height afterwards. They're so good at taking it compared to holding it. We'll see what happens. Kiriachi has the same plan too. Where's Pink, Stompy, and Nevs? That's the other question. They're holding on the first overall right now. It's going to be Savage once again holding things from the 4th all the way to 5th on high ground. Benji right below them. CL on the bottom left as well with Putric Sapphic waiting in the shadows with default 2. And now Mats will amplify. I mean, it's going to be Savage maybe even taking that launch. We've seen the pattern, Sancho. There's no way Height likes to hold on. They want to give this up and then take it afterwards. That's the plan. Savage knows, and he goes all the way through. It's a max pull, so they get all the way on Height. Savage there the fastest. He builds all the way towards the sky, going for control first. His team will land right on him. If it's a golden man, it's good for Savage to be able to let them all the way through. So Andretta Refsguard, they're ready to hold Height. Who's going to come up first?
That's what it's talking about. It's holding on to high as much as possible, considering it's going outside of Stealthy Stronghold.
Pink Nebs down though, the first place team losing 2 players to the hands of Tayson, who's on a tear this game. That might be his 5th elimination, and now Refsguard, Savage, and Drenna, they might not have any contesters at all the way on height. It might just be a lot of people siphoning these elims from low ground.
Right now, this kind of tarp's kind of wide. It's going to be very difficult to hold on to. Somebody could definitely sneak up on him as Savage tries to get a knock right there. Savage gets the knocks on Vino and Reason, and Toos gets knocked here. But Savage and Dread Refsguard in prime positioning because the fortress of the Stealthy Stronghold is going to contain a lot of trios who are down there, and they're going to have to up and hurdle it. But hey, that means eliminations may not happen for Savage and Dread and Refsguard.
Yeah, we'll see so many things happening in the feed. Stafford taking out Tayson and Vino. At the same time, Vino taking out a little bit of Aqua's trio. Aqua takes out Janice. Janice takes out another man as well, all the way down towards the feed. It's 10 left by himself against Default on the backside of the zone. In mid-ground, Kiriachi down low, lost Toos. Him and Stormy right working as a duo against Benji towards the right against so many trios down low. It's going to be no rally in front of them. 2 Aqua's lost height. He's in first. He's down towards the ground. The opposite day for him. But at the same time, for Kiriachi and Stormy right, they're not out of it yet. They find mats. They find a few builds to keep it alive for one last box. What do they do now?
Is Tayson a solo right now? It may be. Tayson may have to clutch by himself here. And Dreda with a knock on art skill. And now we're seeing Kiriachi with a knock against Tayson. That was Tayson getting eliminated as Vidil gets a knock on Stormy right. And Kiriachi gets edited out. It's a great baby wall out of nowhere. Noah Riley and Aqua duo on the front side is going to bounce to the right. So they're going to make the rotation. And Dreda, Rusgar, and Savage here. This is my concern. They only have 4 eliminations and they're getting challenged right now. Time is of the essence, especially when you have Aqua, who's always going to contest.
Ooh, Common Collector for Savage. Aqua's not going to be looking for a contestation just yet. They have so much control all the way on low ground right now. 17, so this is the one that Savage wants to be mean with. It's going to be Putrick in front of him, going down to the pressure. Default on the backside. This is going to be trouble in the box. Savage does not want to take this fight. He might be a little bit outmatched here with no shield, so he goes back up, takes a little bit of a breather. That fish and those 2 minis will be there as well. Default takes out Hendo. Cammy going down, and so many knocks on the feed as trios get splintered apart. Wings is also just barely surviving with Karmi, down all the way on low. Full net going down to Seti. Default going down to full net, and Seti picking up Sapphic as well. So Seti is the one to survive right now, but there is one king of the stronghold who's waiting to get that last fight in. It's Savage and Dreda and Refsguard all the way up top. So many knocks still happening. Teak Wings takes them out. They go blow for blow, toe to toe. And now Savage, he's finally going down with Dreda. They wrap up Karmi. Talk about the crazy engagements we saw from mid and low. That game, every top team taking out teammates, friends, back and forth. It'll be Refsguard and Dreda and Savage, though, to take that VR. A very calm win from high ground.
Yeah, it was calm on high ground, but on low ground, pure chaos. That formerly known as Stealthy Stronghold literally had a stronghold on everybody. It went back and forth multiple times, and that's going to be the question. They take away the Victory Royale, but at what cost? So many eliminations left to that low ground, Shio.
Yeah, this will be a definite big tsunami coming in on the leaderboard, switching up everyone's points. So I want to see if Zeke, Levin, and Reese are on a lifeboat, have, you know, those floaties on. What's going on, boys?
Well, my friend, you never have to worry about it because I cannot sink. Because all I can do is fly sky high. Okay, wow. I am super surprised, Levin and Reese. This was a very almost different game. More like what we're used to seeing out of EU, right? High ground dictates what everyone else is allowed to do. Then eventually, Old Man Mountain or Little Man Hill decides you have to kind of go up this hill, but you have no choice. And then high ground's like, okay, well, this has been fun. Glad you guys enjoyed yourselves. We'd like the VR now. But still, for Staff or Mr. Savage and Dreda Refsguard, a VR is a VR, right? That's still 30 points that's going to hit the leaderboard.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know, when you look at their first couple of games, it didn't go too well. It was just last game when we saw them all 3 go down to Surge, right? And they were really struggling. And we know how ambitious these guys are. They would have been, you know, really frustrated at having been contested this season. But you go out there, you win your spawn fight, and look what happens. You get the Victory Royale.
I mean, that's it. Yeah, like they were disengaging the first 2 games. Then that final game, they said, you know what? I had enough of this. It's not worked out for us. We're going to contest. We're going to fight instead. When they came out on top, obviously they managed to completely apply that. Playing not a play style we're used to seeing. You know, we're used to seeing Refsguard and Dreda and Savage play that low ground play style, but understanding the opportunistic height that once they pull that zone, they're already in a good layer for it. They're already in good position, so they can just keep it, play it all the way through. And teams who are able to adapt and play multiple layers, multiple angles, whatever it is like that, are the teams who inevitably perform really well throughout the entire tournaments.
You absolutely love to see it. Gentlemen, we got to talk about adjustments, right? How are these trios adapting out of game number 1 and 2 and taking those adjustments into game 3?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, you look at two of the three teams who came top 3 last game, and you look at the adjustments they made. You know, you look at the earlier games. This is Savage's team here. They were disengaging from Steamy. We just mentioned that they didn't want any of the smoke with Mustache's trio. You can say sort of similar things when it comes to Cammy's trio. This is them over here, right, where, you know, they weren't aggressive. They really struggled with Surge. They were going down rather early in some of the games, not having, you know, phenomenal games by any means. This game, they get 3rd place, and it's because the stuff we expected to happen on the east side of the map wasn't really going how we expected, right? In terms of Orchard, the fight there didn't happen. Only one team ended up landing there. I think it was Sean VP's team. Corny Complex, the fights over here were closing out very, very quickly. Similar stuff was happening at Lazy Lake, where the fights are ending so quickly. And I wanted to see, specifically with Cammy saying Teak, I wanted to see them get a bit more aggressive, right? Take positions over here so you have angles to try and get Storm Surge tags on some of these teams. And this game, that happened, right? This game, early on in the game, Seti gets a tag with a sniper where he actually hits a snipe, knocks somebody. That is the platform that you need, right, in terms of Surge to be able to propel yourself forward. And it was just so perfect for them, right? Because what ended up happening was they felt more confident, they get more aggressive, they're taking Surge tags on this team. Now what? You don't worry about Surge, you can get 3rd place. You can top your full way through endgame, not worrying about moving Surge. Same thing can be said with Savage, Endra, and Refsguard, where, you know, they take the fight, they win their fight, they win the game, and everything is well and good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, for them, that's going to put them up into 7th now, having that 3rd place, like we mentioned. But for Pink, Nebs, and Stompy there, you know, we already said they have a huge first 2 games, a second, then a first. That last one going on in the 14th. So definitely getting a couple points, but not able to necessarily keep up the consistency that they had in the first 2. For Kiriachi, Stormy right in 2th, though, 9th with 5 elims. This is, again, just consistent top 10s with a bunch of eliminations at the same time, which is moving them up, right? That gap is getting closer between 1st to 2nd now, but same with Vadil's team. They're also just gaining more points at 5th with 9 eliminations. So it seems like we're seeing some super, super consistent teams staying up at the top of the leaderboards. Not always the ones that we would have predicted as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be interesting, right, moving forward into the next couple of games, right, how some of these adjustments do affect, you know, what we see in the standings. Well, obviously now we're seeing City, Cammy and Teak, Refsguard and that are up there as well. If you take a look at the next page, you know, look, some of these teams are going to be looking to replicate what they did last game to propel themselves into contention. And then you look at the likes of Hen Jennison, Chapix in 13th, right? Even, you know, Joe, Shadow, Benji, who had a good first game. These are teams where they're going to be thinking, hold on a minute, now how did we end up here? Even with Queasy, Trillis, and Druid, they'd be thinking, okay, what do we actually need to change in these next 3 games? Because we started off a bit better, but it's been tragic since.
Yeah, and for Queasy's team, right, they're in 18th currently. Last season, they were one of the only teams who had 10 points every single game, right? So there was no 0-point games. In that game right there, the last one we saw, 0 points. So this season, you know, something's not clicking exactly the same way as it was before. Then go down in 26th, it seems like they were having Storm Surge issues, which is obviously plaguing so many teams this season. Storm Surge has just been so difficult. So for this team, you know, for a back-to-back performance, they don't seem to have that huge start that they had last season. But again, there's still plenty of games left for them to turn up the acceleration.
Well, speaking of accelerator, it's time to go back aboard the battle bus once again. We'll have to see if these trios can make these comebacks, because we only have a few more games left on the day, and you really want to put yourself in a good spot going into day number 2. But for now, we're going to kick it back over to Shy Wager and Sancho West to kick off the next game.
Absolutely right, Zeke. We're past that halfway point. All these trios trying different things. I feel like now, Sancho, things will get solidified, right? A lot of these guys making a few mistakes, taking what they can. This is where we go full pedal to the metal.
And that's what you got to do. It's like a marathon / sprint. You have to run that mile literally at a full sprint when it's coming down to it. And the team that's ahead of the pack is Stompy, Pink, and Nebs, and they've been taking it to the pedal to the metal here to Kazakh. But the 50-50 battle, it goes back and forth. And Kazakh stands tall, and now it's Nebs and Falconly, and like, wow, that's going to be a fight that we have to watch. So far, this is what could be that wrench that slows down. They could be that tire that blows out when they're trying to make that race, Shio.
These guys were starting so well off this game. 209 points all the way in first place. Pink, I mean, a very tough spot. They do deny the res on ZQ entirely. But with one teammate down, Pink so low as well. It's a matter of time, I feel like, for this year to be wiped up. It's all on Nebs.
Nebs here, you know, was riding with Boo back in the previous season out there in the stealthy stronghold here. Nebs with a great support and a great flank right now, picking up ZQ. So now it's about even right now in terms of at least like HP, you would have to say, but still Pink's so low. It's still a numbers game when it comes down to it here. It's Kazakh's here, Falconly on a retreat. And they could try to become, and we've seen this before, Shayo, the reboot ban, it just becomes a place where people just kind of hold on as much as possible. And the thing is, ZQ's card's not being claimed right now, so that play is not going to be available for Kha'Zix. So the 2v2 happens here, and you know what? I'm always saying, like, Lazy Lake is one of those places, though, that if you are contested, you tend to get a little bit stronger if you win quickly, and that's what's been happening for Pink today. But this could be the first time that they slow down just a bit. But you can afford to lose a couple in like a 12-game set.
Sometimes there's another team that just drives by and starts getting really consistent. These games will end up mattering. I mean, these guys have been climbing by 20, 30 points here and there, and now it's going to be so troublesome. That last game, it was just about 11 in total. So now we'll see what Nebs can do.
It's the third party. The third party again is showing up. Falconly, though, is going to get knocked by Nebs here, but this is going to be a little bit more messier because the third party, the yellow arrows, are making their way through, and Nebs and Pink, yes, you survived that engagement. Kha'Zix and Falconly and ZQ are not been having one of those days, but here it is. It's Caddy Corner being pepperfied, getting right into the mix here, throwing a little bit of that emerald bang spiced right into it, and Nebs here is going to have to be a solo star to hold on to this, but yikes. Both Lazy Lake eliminated from Caddy Corner. That's the adjustments we've been talking about, that set piece. Everyone else frozen in time, and all of a sudden that Bishop coming out of nowhere, getting that elimination.
Definitely see that. A bunch of these teams have a very clear goal in early game, and it's usually just centered around interrupting fights. So Trixie's one of those trios. And that Lazy once did it somewhere else towards the south side the game before. For Kirachi Storm Rat and Tooth, it's all about speed and looting here and then getting central position. That's why you see them in so many head-to-head engagements with Aqua. It's just about gaining as much map control as possible. They can land over at Sludgy Swamp, but then at some point, you know, later in the game, literally looked like they were landing at Steamy the entire time. All they want is just control of where the zone goes.
Normally on this rotation, they avoid Weeping Woods. They kind of just move on through. They take the river route to kind of try to avoid any kind of surprises and whatnot. But the surprise is Kirachi's team. They're in second place. They've been here before. And let's not give them their flowers, let Levin just say, but they're planting their flowers right now. And soon they might bloom to a championship. But Kirachi Storm Riding 2 here, second place, doing really well. And if Adil and Aqua, Noah Riley, they're just something you, man, I literally, as a duo, I would say, yeah, they could take height. You know, I'm that confident in their prowess. They have to be totally out of the lobby. They have to be back on the boot island to be, you know, to be like, oh, okay, they're no way going to be make an appearance here at in-game.
And their record might look a little bit, you know, risky right now overall with the way they're playing first, 19th, really just riding on the coattails that, you know, game number 1 overall. Well, when we're looking at things in total for this team, you know, and 5th after that as well, it's all about consistently going for the win, consistently going for high ground takes, no matter what it really takes for them, right? If they end up doing that and then with maybe 3-4 wins at the end of these 12 games, that is like a first place finish overall. It's all cumulative. There's a bunch of teams who are playing consistently. These guys are looking to pop off every single game, and sometimes they might not hit the mark. They make up for it though, because a double-digit elim win, that really puts you all the way towards the top of the boards.
And then we go to this story of Mappy Red vs. Asterios, who qualified through Bony Burbs, and they were being contested by Hijo's trio, and they were doing really well. They got 162 points in the qualifiers, and that was it. They got eliminated early, and they barely held on to qualification here, considering that the top 3 tend to get overtaken when it gets to the later stages here. But that is what we're watching here. This is going to be closer to the second half of the 6 games here. And as you're seeing, Hadi Eelkras here being held back by Chapix Hen. So the Craggy Clips team are now picking on this Dinky Dish trio. And last time Hadi's trio was able to go into Steamy, the third party, but not so fast. The reservations have been canceled by Chapix, Janice, and Hen.
I'm wondering exactly what they did last game to switch things up. And 8th place.
Ooh, and Shredda's here too?
Or 8 elims with 6th place overall. Everyone seems like they're kind of at this standoff next to each other. Chapix Genesis hadn't and just done so well in that last game, contesting different teams, being the perfect third party. It'll be the first engagement right now against Eelkras, though.
So basically, Savage disengaged. Malibu Cuts trio is still in this lobby. So they disengage to pristine point. They try to take advantage of those fishing spots as well. And right now, they know that. So Chapik, Janice, and Hen, they're going to be gifted that trio, considering that they're a lot stronger going to that engagement. But now we're going to focus on this huge engagement that's been happening. So now we see Tayson's game plan. It's a pick on anybody coming from the West Coast. But we saw them in the qualifiers in the early stages, Shayo. They had issues, teams rotating through. And this engagement didn't turn out. It was game 6 when the qualifiers won. They went up against License trio and they got eliminated really quickly.
And then finally figured out how to hold on and back off prolonged fights. Asroki always looking to chip away at damage and then go for a finisher instead of doing it the other way around. A big shot first, followed by chasing people at low HP.
And we saw in there, Andretta did pick up that's what I wanted to see. Andretta did pick up a knock against Refsguard's trio right there, and that's just, oh my goodness, Chapik, Janice, and Hen there. Yeah, Andretta getting knocked, Refsguard's getting knocked. It's just, you can't disengage from a major POI to a landmark as a trio. Not enough loot. Janice and Hen and Chapik here, no doubt reviewed, understanding what's happening in Steamy Stacks. They're very smart, intelligent trios. Some will say the best in the world. So far hadn't put up a best performance today, but there's still another day tomorrow and there's still a couple games today.
Yeah, everything's kind of going to the FNCS script, so to speak. It's actually crazy that the same players who are winning the first 3 games today are the ones who are rolling in from the last finals. When it comes down to patterns, the way games are played, the way some of the top teams who are barred from playing show up today and end up, still being top caliber. I mean, you have these same winners though from 2 different FNCSs. Might just be anyone's game still, because that still means that, Trulex rolling in, they might be hiding right now. Game 2 can just do so well overall with consistency. Can also bring it back. Flecken, Kumo, Dako, don't count them out either, right? They're always up to play better when the pressure is higher overall. Maybe that's what a lot of these players are waiting for. 12 games on the line, consistency is absolutely key. So are these victory royales.
And what's happened right here is Flecken's trio is rotating a lot early, and they're taking up where Tayson likes to rotate to for Storm Surge tags. That Guardian Tower is a huge part of the Believer Peaches trio's plan. They go up there and they kind of perch and they have a great oversight of everybody. It's same thing for NA West when it comes to Arkham's trio. This is a great spot. But now when you have someone from Fort Crumpet Split moving on through really quickly, they take up that spot. Now you have to go somewhere else. So that is what the big concern when it comes to Storm Surge plans for Tayson's trio, is that a lot of the Storm Surge plans are being occupied early.
Kali Bubak in the storm once again, looking like a crazy plan. They're following game after game. There will be a launch pad here they can use to rotate. It will be slightly late. I guess there's just something about the storm these guys like. They'll go back, kind of baiting T-Chips to take the pad first so they can go for the beams. A tricky strategy. Not going to work out. Reason going down in the feed. Full elimination from Karma there, but this is the main focus. What a nice almost bait and switch from Bubak Aware and Kylie. They'll have to dip into the mech hits fast, and now as Art Skill takes his 2. They have a launch pad to use, but it's not going to be that big of a focus here right now. It's more so dealing this damage, getting that surge, chasing down Art Skill and trying to go for a pre-fire. Another 108 versus tack though. Doesn't matter how hard your shots hit. That attack can always flat back faster. Aware against our skill. He gets taken out too. Blue box there for the backside. And he clutches up with 2 big shots.
What a defiant hold by Bubak here at the Defiant Dish. Another hot spot this season when it comes to Chapter 2 Season 7. That perma pad's going to be a way they could get out of here, hold on to that pad for in-game. But that's another hot spot if you're looking into where the people go. If you had a heat map, so to speak, that would be bright red. Because not only that, it's a great rotational spot for all the teams coming from the south. It's also a spot where people look for Storm Surge tags here. And now we're getting into, it seems to be all day, northwest zone here, another Coral Castle. Cammy City Teague making the rotation from Cammy Split. 67 points in the mix. But speaking of the mix right now, a blender is happening out here in the Believer Beach on the docks, and Tayson Bino and Reason going down to knock. I just think today, Shayo, you don't want to see Fast Roki. They've been a thorn on a lot of trio sides.
Definitely picking apart a lot of fights that are breaking out and taking too long. Reason Vino Tayson though, last game as well. I mean, they were working side by side with Janice. It just looked absolutely beautiful. The amount of eliminations this team was getting. I mean, right now, all they want to do is just stay consistent, stay inside the top 10. They've had 2 good games over and over. Nice finishes with damage too. Looking for that win very soon. This might be it. They're very good at navigating these northern zones. Very good at playing near water styles as well.
Benji's trio pushed in, and that gave the backdoor escape for Tayson and Vino to just walk out there. So there you're seeing Benji, Shadow, and Joe. And last game, they were playing center. We saw them in the qualifiers. They always play center here. So that's what they're looking for, to trying to play a central. And Joe goes down. Oh no, Joe, say it ain't so. Benji and Shadow have to do this as a duo, as Fasroki, Void, and Karma, again, the biggest thorns in the lobby.
Yeah, they kind of rolled up towards the back, tried to get a few spots inside this
is not good.
Void edits the box, says Joe who, and then he just gets taken out completely. Now we'll see what the chaos actually looks like from a first-person perspective. Shadow left by himself. I mean, no light shining here in this box at all. Take a few minis up, no bigs, so even weaker for this next fight. It'll be 1v3. They've gotten no trades this entire time. And there's no one else to really help Shadow. There's no third party that can come here, try to put that gas on a Fasroki, Karma, and Void. It's just going to be Shadow versus the world from this point. People have moved on. They don't want to be near the beach. They don't want to be near the water at all. Bubak taken out by X-Wiz on the backside, and Malabuka as well in some trouble from ADN. These fights are kind of breaking out with similar patterns all across the field of Fortnite right now. Lots of teams stuck beside each other looking to gain power in their bases. I mean, obviously Benji slipped now. Shadow's also about to fall. Joe taken out. How much longer can this man survive? Not that long. Not the most ideal vacation, but hey, Fasroki, Void, Karma, they're having a good time.
Man, they basically stuck their hand into the void, and a monster of Fasroki's trio grabbed them and pulled them out into the lobby screen. That's at, they're done. Red Rush's trio's Mappy. I was bringing this up here. I was like, this is a great zone for Matzo's trio. They're coming out of Pleasant Park. A lot of people have to rotate their way, but they're still stuck on this side of the map here. I'm surprised they didn't rotate early. As you see right there on the left side, AD and Matzo operating as a duo, but I think they just took too long here in Pleasant Park, and they let the rest of the coastal trios come on through. That was always going to be a hot snipe from Mappy's sniper connecting, but it does not find its connection here. And now another trio is going to come in and pinch all this residential area.
And Mappy evicted from home, taken out of the front yard. Great push, though. Hydro, they've done their job. They love to just affect things a little bit and then run away, take their damage, and then just fly. That's exactly what they'll do. Very good timing, too, because now the zone's moving. Everyone has to get into fourth and go traverse way past Pleasant Park, past the ocean as well, all the way towards the north or west side of the map.
Yeah, Hen's trio was the other side of a victim of those kind of pushes from Zestin's trio, and now it's going to claim a little bit more. Let's talk about a tsunami of effect here. It's basically everyone was vibing, everyone was chilling by the pool, and here comes the Zestin trio as a cannonball. It splashes everybody, and they're satisfied with the prank, and they're out. And now Red Rush and Mappy here, and Asterios here in a little bit of better position because they're on the feet here, but talk about all that resonance. It was like a tornado, and a lot of shambles trios are being left over there. But now, for the first time, we get to see Ingram, who's known to be landing at the Defiant Dish here, who kind of patrols that central area of the Defiant Dish, was able to rotate a little bit early here on the storm line in zone 3.
Loss of castaways on the right side of shore. And right now, after their VR teams basically averaged 21st. Not the best overall, kind of the clay effect we like to call on broadcast. Unfortunate for a bunch of these winners. They have to break that curse though, and we see the pattern of a few actually doing that towards the second day. The VRs, you know, consistently followed by another top 5 or another top 10 when it matters most. Right now, that experimentation is getting into the feel of finals. Might be the thing that's kind of stopping trios from really going for a big push after a win. We'll see though, because a lot of those guys who are used to winning are alive in this game. A majority of the top 10 ready. The leaders of the lobby though, Pink, Neb, Stompy, they're not going to be able to play. They got taken out earlier, as we saw. Will default Putrick and Sapphic hit that triple digit mark and go straight towards the top.
This is one of those challenging zones. Like I mentioned, it's the theme right there, and they seem to be getting a little bit better and better as the day progresses here, figuring out sometimes they kind of go down in this early to mid game right now. This is where they tend to lose out on this rotation. So this kind of hop skip right now of a movement, it's going to be very vital for their survival. And at the same time, speaking of the defending FNCS champions, and I'm thinking about survival, they're in the middle of the pack. 18th place coming with this fight of Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky. Just in case for those people like, what's going on with the defending champions? They still have yet to find their footing in this day.
Everyone moving to better positioning. Some forced all the way out to see.
Oh, what an expensive tarp here. Oh, look at this zone.
They're going to be used to it. Yeah, we're fully aquatic. It's awesome from a viewer's perspective. It's tough on the players having to spend even more mats on floors, on walls in the ocean. But the good thing for Analyx 4-0 Squeeze is very similar to the fights they had in game 1 in the shores of Misty Meadows. They're kind of used to this habitat. A lot of other people might not like that though. Red Rush trying to stay high, mighty in the skies on the islands. Rotary also not wanting to deal with the water at all.
It's like a sinking ship. Everyone's just grabbing to as much landmass as possible here, and they're going to be content being stacked. Like, look at this. All the trios are on this island. There's one green trio who's sitting dead center. I would have never expected someone to be center of an aquatic zone, but here we are as Default is in danger of getting tripped up by his Russian mates out there, by Rotary and Elder and Tosai. Another one for the reboot round who kind of just came in like, what was it, game 2? As all of a sudden they had a textbook win when it comes to victory round, a reboot round. So hey, a reboot round so far, 46 points in the middle of the pack, coming in like about 20th place into this fight. Oh man, who is center? I want to know. They got gifted a supply drop. Who is center? Please.
That's a reward for being in one of the most toughest positions to deal with. But so many other people are concerned with their own bases around, including Rotary, Elder, and Toasty. There's no way anyone's even looking in center to bully. So much tension, box to box. You can hear shots being fired. Mappy takes out a big pick, full net 2, and now Rotary, he's on the focus to affect a few people above him. Dako getting hit, 25 HP. Looks like they're getting targeted by Storm Surge. Exterios not in trouble. We saw them just gonna kneel him. No, they're also getting sniped. That might be Trixie down below. It is crazy on this final peninsula that everyone gets dragged to as well from the 7 seas. Rotary's all the way in the back. This is tough.
Yeah, and the trouble sees of 4ZR trio. We saw them near the beach side of this movement here as you're seeing the Storm Surge get Doku right there, and Zestin be able to confirm that and take the spoils of that engagement. Rotary here and Elder on the Operation Duo, and look at the bottom right, Vino, Tayson, and Reason. I'm just trying to take a look here where they are. They're in right. No, they're just there. Yeah, they're in. They're looking good. They're going to try to find beams of people making their way. As you're seeing, Rotary is still in the other side of the shore, making their way through. And just take a look at this half in and half out zone 5. It's just so tremendous. They just seen Rotary coming in, flying, no eyes. Rotary on the top right makes it here, but there's a box fight happening on the bottom right. Dino, who got at least 5 eliminations here. The barrel stuff is through. They phased through, but it cost them Reason. The bottom right of the screen is what we want to focus on. They're going to try to get Reason again. It just seems that every time we tune into this team, one of them is always knocked.
Yeah, they're fighting Kiriachi Storm right to second place and effective leaders of the lobby right now, and Vino goes down 2, so all up to Tayson as he picks up Reason, and they're back active in the fight. Kiriachi's not done. He goes for another shot against the wall, but edited close it is as Vino gets picked up too. 1 second till this zone closes in, 30 till the next one moves, and we're going way past this entire island. A big expedition for every trio. The 17 alive right now, back into the depths of Coral Castle. This will be a very tough rotation for anyone on low ground, for people like Tayson, Vino, and Reason. They're barely even ready to go again. They're back wall beamed out. Vino and Reason are going to be deleted. Now Tayson by himself. He has no heals at all. That Firefly jar going to be way too spicy to consume, and not even dealing any damage to anything he'll throw it at. Everyone here is on hard mats. This man needs a miracle.
All he has to do is just stay on his feet. The placement points are about to clock in here for the moment. He's going to wait for a community pad. As Seti cannot make this rotation. Chastity gets an elimination on Seti here, but Tayson, the solo all-star champion, is going to have to work by himself. And this is what I was wondering in the back of my head. Who is at height? Is Tapis and Hen here? They're going to see. They have options here. Are they going to build over? As Ingram is right there, right below him, second from height here. Now we're back on board. Tayson got a knock on Ingram there. Was getting some last party favors here. He gets that to-go plate. He's going to recycle the pad once again.
Oh my
and see what he
God.
can get.
He's barely even allowed to be here. 26 HP. Half an AR
that's
will
Janus.
take him out, but he's trying to go for that big replacement. Confident there onto Janus. Can't actually stay inside the storm. The Siphon comes into the most clutch moment. 1 HP.
Oh my.
Somehow staying alive. Dodges shots again. He clutches up a little bit of placement before getting taken out. As a result of that invasion, though, Splash, Mawaka, Koro, they're all the way there towards the top. Queasy, Trillis, and Jerky, they're ready to take things over too. We're bouncing straight back on this island. We're going way back to the shore.
That's going to be a big bounce back for Queasy to kind of wait and assess when to take height, but you cannot assess when you're a duo, and Janus and Hen are left down to a duo. Mawaka and Splash are holding on to height, but I'm just trying to take a look. Yeah, Mappy, Asterios, and Red Rush, they're second from height. They're in front side of the storm.
Low ground is hurting right now.
Big time.
On that bounce back, have to go straight up a big cliff to get back into the game. Diablo was there too. He's taken down. Bayon at the same time. If you're on low right now, you're barely in the game with materials. Your HP is affected and low, and in mid ground, you have to deal with Fast Roki as well, who loses Void, going for a little bit of pressure. Drops down one individual, but might not be the thing that he was aiming for the most.
So many placement points will be doled out because a lot of teams are falling at this moment here. But look at it. Mawaka, Splash, and Koro here. They're sitting high, but they're not sending any beams. They're not applying any pressure.
Yeah, Teak still finds a way to stay alive, though. All the way on low without any height pressure. No trios are being forced down, and then having a little bit of a forced way to trouble low grounds. As a result, Teak, Chash, a lot of the people down low starting to survive. Kemi, though, taken out all the way towards the last second. Vexy on the same box as Kuriachi. This man has stopped 5 different trios in his path. He's down in the slums, 2 at low. Taken out, 2 still alive with him, but the server might claim his fate too, as he's, yes, gonna go down to the zone instead of Kuriachi to bring things all the way home now. 2 snuck to Sean, who's kind of blocking him off the whole way. 11 trios still alive inside the 9th zone.
They're still alive, and so is Kirachi. Kirachi has a lot of mats. He could withstand this. He could just tarp out full box and be able to survive and get so many placement points. Top 10 has been crossed, and Kirachi here has about 80 builds to work with, only down to 15 HP and white health, so he cannot let the storm get him. Now he's just assessing his situation. Look at up height, and at height, it is just a mess.
This is a toppling tower ready to crumble. There are way too many people alive for this zone. 1 minute till it closes in. Rifle, Astro, save it. Somehow the whole trio's made it here, and they still have materials to keep building. Rotary, Chashi, they finally fall. Chashi healed up, I guess, in one of the previous zones. He's back in it, but then taken out. Chulex taken away by Backfeed. Now Rifle, he's surveying his lair. Lots of things to deal with. Up high, God trios. Down low, people desperate to get things going. He picks into 3 people and barely even gets shot. How is that possible? They have to drop down. Height is way too hard to deal with. Rifle, every single lair he goes through is one more desperate person looking for a chance to survive. Force will not. Rifle, Astro, save it, somehow are claiming every single lair. But Rifle spends way too long inside the zone. Koro now all the way up below. He's looking for an X shot to take. Astro, save it. They made it down to low ground. They've claimed absolutely every single lair in this endgame. Looking for the win. 2v1 now. We'll see what they do. Have the heal. Double chuck splash cannons and got to survive in the zone all the way till the last second. Who are they dealing with on height? It's Koro, who's insane at healing by himself. Not going to be possible. He has nothing else really to grab. Save it, Astro, Rifle. What a masterclass of domination from height all the way down to ultimate low. They get one of the most impressive victory royales I've seen so far.
118 points and 8 eliminations of the Victory Royale. That is what has been happening for Save It, Rifle, and Astro. That's a second in-game that they were there at the very end. Last time they weren't able to get the Victory Royale, but this time they are. But what a great, they are landing in Rainbow Rental Split. They're way down there in the south, and they're making it work out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, when you talk about making it work out for them, it was more than even making it work out. That was just layer after layer after layer of shutting down another player. So Zeke, Levin, Reese, what did these guys actually accomplish?
You know what, Shy Wager? They have accomplished the unthinkable. That's right, lobby domination in its purest form. I'm telling you, Levin, so many of these trios are firing on all cylinders, and I'm loving the back and forth between every single trio. There's not a single outlier. Everyone is bringing their very best to the table, and you are seeing it in this gameplay.
I'll be real. if you told me at the start of the year that, you know, I'd be seeing Savid winning an FNCS final game, as much as I love Savid, I would have said, I don't believe you. The progression has been there, though. And to see them on this stage at this time, winning that game, look, they've hit their rhythm. I'm liking it. You know, Astro SMZ, I'm a big fan of him. One of my favorite players in their game. So seeing them doing well is something that puts a smile on my face, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, we both know him. He's a homie at the same time. And it's great to see them do super well. At the same time, we got to remember, Rifle and the BL boys, I'm sure they're going to have some great footage of that because they've been producing some fantastic content from the bootcamp that they've been doing in real life. So I want to see what the background, the hype to that moment was, because that is such a big pop-off for them. And in particular, we've got to figure out how's that going to affect the leaderboards at the same time.
Oh my goodness. We'll take a look at those leaderboards in just a little bit. But first, our boys want to talk about a few things coming into this game. So gentlemen, take it away.
Okay, so here we go. You've noticed at the same time, we have two very important parts. You got Stompy dropping in right here, and you have above him the opponent, right? This is why drops are so critical, and having a good drop, having the best drop map. Look at how much earlier Stompy manages to land on the weapon. He gets it, it becomes less of a 50-50. ZQ goes absolutely down at this point. However, he does make the mistake of unfortunately dropping down and then taking another 50-50 with Kezzik. So this ends up making this fight a kind of 2v2 situation, which luckily Nebs and Pink does manage to clean up. However, you notice this fight took a long time. There's 2 minutes until this first zone is still closed, which attracts a ton of other players, which in this particular situation is going to be Tenzin's team, who pushes from Craggy Cliffs, right? They have the peppers, they can fly, and you can see that Pink is just going down there because they have been outsmarted. Neb's now alive, left as a solo, and unfortunately 2 gets picked up. This is one of the issues which happens when these early game fights take so long like it did here. We saw it become a 2v2, which just dragged out so much, is that the contesting teams around who are free, they can look quickly, they can just push on in, have the ability to push in and clean up like Tenzin's team has done here. That's their Storm Surge absolutely ticked off for this game.
Yeah, that's literally the exact same thing as all that happened, a couple games ago with Anderlex's team at Misty, right? Like, you can't afford for these fights to last that long. Nevertheless, though, you take a look at the standings and you can see how things have shaken up. Kiri actually storming right into lead the day at the moment. Rifler, Savid, and Astro sitting in second place. You wouldn't have thought it, right, coming into today, but nevertheless, a brilliant win from them, pushes them all the way up. And of course, Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, even though they didn't have the best of games, are still in the top 3.
Yeah, exactly. So huge for them, absolutely overall. Vadil, Noah, and Aqua still sticking on as well. This kind of top 4 is really starting to solidify themselves out. If you look over to that next page, the teams who are in that 11th down till 20th slot. Henjan's Champix moving up a little bit, but still in the slot that they don't want to be. Same with Queasy's team, same with Vino Tayson's team as well. Like, these are the teams that we would not necessarily expect to be 11th till 13th, but they're still close. They still have an opportunity, still have more games today, and on top of that, they have obviously all of the games tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I know, you know, you don't want to hit the panic button, but at the same time, it's not been good enough, quite frankly, from the likes of Henjanis and Chapix. And, you know, obviously we hold them to such high expectations because everything prior to today has been the best of the best in Fortnite. But still, you know, at some point you expect them to flip the switch and turn it on. You don't want to leave it till tomorrow. In theory, you can. You know, tomorrow they come and they win every single game. Of course, yeah, they'll be high up in the standings. They could win the whole thing. But you want to give yourself a good lead now.
That's right, man. You got to do something. You do not want to start day number 2 in a worse off spot, but it's okay, right? We still have a handful of games left. It just takes a victory Royale, a handful of eliminations, just turn this whole competition on its head. But for now, we're ready to jump back into the competitions. We're going on the battle bus. We got Shy Wager, Sancho standing by, boys. Over to you.
The game ready to see exactly how these trios bounce back. Sancho, I mean, has some crazy zones today. Luckily, nothing in the south just yet. I'm gonna jinx that though, because you never know where this one goes.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. You talked about bounce back. There's been so many storms bouncing back and forth, ping-ponging over hurdles, going up and down elevations, come across like a bunch of waters, aquatic finishes. The bounce back has been giving a lot of second life to a lot of the people at height. It looks like Falconly now is going to get a knock against Nebs here, so that's going to be that fight that's happening out there in Lazy Lake. But here we're on board with Kirachi, Stormray, and Toos. Now we're getting to seeing how their experience in early game is. It's very chill.
It's a very large split for Kiriachi. They get to have logged down on themselves
by themselves.
Yeah, this is
what?
Just, I feel like on day 2, if a few teams figure out that this is going down, might not have this available. But at the same time, who can really go push themselves to fight here? Kiriachi's not going to give it up. He's always confident off spawn. This is an insane split, almost worth like 3 POIs.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The only trio that is kind of like a caution for Kirachi's trio would be Rifla, Saban, and Astro. They're the ones that are doing a Shantytown. You know, normally out there in qualifiers, they would go Rainbow Rentals, log jammed all the way down to Shantytown. It looks like they're making their adjustments, understanding that maybe Kirachi will be out there. And we're seeing that Kirachi is being much more quicker when it comes to looting. He's about out there about the 6-minute mark of the match. Kirachi's already gone. He's already out the door. And Astro and Saban, they know that, and they know they could take their time, but still, great performance in the previous match.
Teak as well, surviving down on low for so long. It's felt like this man had 3 different lives last game.
They always do. There's always one of them that just holds on and gets those impact placement points.
Teak said he can. I mean, previous seasons, very, very strong contenders for top 5 throughout the whole day. I feel like in this season, in these 12 games, at least in this day, I'll have to just try to pick it up and climb back. If we can go over to that Misty Meadows fight too, see exactly what's breaking down there. Pink also going down again. This man, first game with Nebs and Stompy, looking good. First place overall, 2 games in a row, even with one where they went down early. Now they're really falling down the feed. They're in 3rd overall. After that elimination, 2 might go down even further.
Yeah, Decepto's got a knockout too against Analyx's trio. So yeah, Misty Meadows is still going. There's Stompy in the full retreat. Mako right into that scrum that's happening here. Going to try to find a place to breathe here at the Guardian Tower. Now you're seeing Saventor, Siberian Force getting fully eliminated by Sai. That's happening there in Retail Row. So all these engagements are still happening all over the time here as we're getting to the back half of the first 6 games here for the FNCS Finals. And hey, right now, I mean, if you could end it now, Kirachi would be happy, but you can't. You still have another day tomorrow to work your way through.
They're way forward in the lead, and you see that sometimes.
Yep,
those leaders on day 1, they end up cracking a little bit. Day 2,
adjustments are made.
The top 5, yeah. Other teams end up climbing back. This time we're staying still up towards the north. Looks like EU's getting used to the same zones game after game. Might not be as crazy as a cool castle ending.
Yep.
But see how they take this one. Craggy going to be at an advantage. There's a game for Hengenis and Chapix to win. It's this one. Savage as well at Steamy should have a chance to climb back. Doesn't look like they're contested either.
So what this means here, that's going to give some freedom to Hottie out there at the Dinky Dish. They may go into Steamy. We've seen that before. Joe, Shadow, and Benji right there in the center of Corny Complex. They have the opportunity to be central and kind of base up and take Storm Surge tags. And again, Janice, and Chapix here, they're sitting on the north side of Craggy. I'm waiting for them to rotate over to Stealthy. They have yet to do that. We've seen them go into Stealthy, seen them go to Pristine Point, have yet to see them do what they've been doing this entire season and going into Stealthy Stronghold. And now we go from that's happening up the north to the struggles of the south. And Tens and Trixie and Jaggy here, the third party into Retail Row from that Siberia fight. Right now they're kind of facing it. I mean, we've seen Cammy Steady T get some nice beams from that Guardian Tower up there north of Retail.
Everyone's got really good vantage points and angles. And a lot of trios are going to be focusing on dealing as much damage as possible here too. Jaggy's just been so good today. You're right, at just invading whatever they can, taking something and then leaving on to the next one. Before it was outside in, they were starting from POI away, far away, and then going straight to lazy. Now from Retail, they actually circle all the way down away from the zone, trying a different strategy, always keeping every trio around them on the map on their feet.
And that trio and Trixie, they held out Thomas HD. They held out the bad snipers of the world. They were there. They were in that in game. It was a heal off that they were able to get into the finals. So that's why we don't see Thomas HD and Austin Flick.
They just have default. They're going to be tossing about. Hengenis Chapix with the God Zone. Looking to see exactly what they want to do. Lots of trios rolling around them, so free time to take some damage. I feel like Umplifies will be the one to actually take a little bit of the punishment. It's not going to be there just yet. See exactly what there is to do next. There's going to be snipes here from Hen.
Janice, and Chapix coming in from Chapter 2, Season 5, trying to become a 2-time trio champion. Last season, they ran into High Crest's trio, contested them at the Craggy Cliffs. We've already seen them kind of explore very, I would say, aggressive dead side, going all the way to the East Coast. Have yet to go west here, but now they're doing the thing, just going straight down to the south here. As Malibuka is going to run into Zestin and Hydro, and back feet, and Hydro are on their feet. Zestin goes down.
They'll be fighting out side by side, still 28 teams alive. Blue boys fighting a little bit more than they can chew. This is where things get troublesome, and it's happened against Malibuka many times before. They go in for that classic fight, the one pick off and then move, the kind of kidnapping these guys are used to doing game after game after game. But once they get caught, right, maybe the CCTV catches them in the midst. There's a trio member that was kind of aware that this trio was kind of sneaking by, and one member goes down. That game, it's absolutely torched. The placement's not that good. Their pressure is not that high or active. See what they can do with a man down. The loadout's looking so great. So many big pots to get what they can from Zestin's body. Akfi, effective while backing up. Here's Steady, Kemi, Teak looking in form this time. Controlling a higher point. This zone's so good for them too. Although their entire split might be a little bit smaller than seasons before. Being an east side team and having strength from that side is huge when it comes to these types of zones. You get to do a lot when you're moving forward here.
And Backfee's trio came into the finals by qualifying in 6th place in the heat that we saw here on the broadcast. A trio that we have been seeing multiple times here as Vino, Reason, and Tayson is slowly waking up. They're kind of shaking off the rust here. It took a long time for them to get into the finals. We all thought they'd be able to do that here in the qualifiers, but now they're here, 68 points.
A lot of people all around. Remember, lots of games still to be played today and tomorrow. Ball game format overall. ADMS amplified with a great split. Jason looking to see what he can do. Everyone just waiting to see what the next move is here in this game. All about making sure you're having consistent point allocation as we roll around. Camera 5 currently, that zone is pulling even more towards the north. No one really wants to even get involved with anyone else for this moment. They're kind of learning their lesson game after game after game. Every time they start that fight, usually that team is the one getting punished. We'll still watch lots of people flying by. That's a car zooming in front of Fastaroki. The players that are used to invading other trios' boxes, moving second, are moving first, faster than first, compared to everyone that's around them. That's huge, a big change up, a big difference from previous games. But as we tune in for this game, we'll actually go back a little bit, tossing over to the analyst desk just to see exactly what is going down with the situation of games today.
Thank you guys so much. Sorry about that. A little bit of an inconvenience there. We are going to be knowing the results of game number 4 and 5 in the EU FNCS finals due to an error that removed several participating teams from the matches accidentally. These matches will be replayed at the end of tomorrow's day 2 session. Leaderboards will be corrected after the event concludes. So for right now, as we prepare the battle bus, get our players back on board, what we're going to do is go to a little bit of a break. When we return, though, we'll jump right back into the action, keep the ball rolling. So stay tuned for more here from the FNCS. We'll see you guys in just a little bit. What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS. Sorry about that, everybody. We're going to get ready to jump back aboard the battle bus very quickly as we're going to be getting back into the games. But we want to let you guys know we've nullified the results of games 4 and 5 here in the first day of competition. So for the broadcast itself, that means that this will be the last game in Europe today. But don't forget, we're back tomorrow. We've also added 2 games to the broadcast, so we'll still have a total of 12 games. No need to fear, but those will be added to tomorrow's day. Now, with that being said, of course, this being last day, you know what we got to do. We got to go back to our casters, C2S and ShyWager. They're going to set the scene for us as we prepare for the last game of the day, and then we'll close out. Come back tomorrow for more action. So let's do this. C2S, ShyWager, over to you.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Yeah, that means we're basically operating with Game 3's leaderboards overall. So right now, Pink, Nebs, and Stompy are still in first place. The only team to have 100 points overall in game. We're watching things, Sancho. Things might look a little bit different with the point totals, but we'll make sure to hold you guys all throughout the whole way from the final game today to the 8 we play tomorrow.
And to round out the top 3, we've got Kirachi's team in second, and then we have Adil's trio in third. And then, you know what, why don't we just throw in the 4th place is FlowNet's trio, who, you know, so basically we're just reverting back into, just imagine right now that Savage's trio just won out of Stealthy Stronghold. They got the Victory Royale. Now we're here, last game.
Yeah, so the kind of vibes we're looking at is, you know, Aqua dominating in one game before, flopping after the fact, a few back and forth, people still figuring out everything that's going through. But from what I see and what I hear, that battle bus should be ready to go. We should be diving into game just shortly, Sancho. Lots of fights throughout the map, basically revisiting Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, maybe even Steamy Stacks to see what's good. But we'll start over at Lazy, because for Pink and Nebs and Stompy, game after game after game, it's just been chaos off spawn.
Absolutely, and this is going to be, like we mentioned, the last game of the day. That means our competitors will have to sleep on and get ready for day 2, and that's when I've already mentioned on the social media is that competitors find that so much nerves and anticipation. But now you got to imagine the EU region get a bonus 2 games to work with, and some of those nerves can be cool, but throughout the entire time, and that's going to be a huge misglide from Stompy. He needed to catch that rooftop, now does not have the advantage, which is crucial here for this Lazy Lake engagement.
Yeah, loses an AR, but gets a little bit more firepower for being up close and personal with that pump. ZQ and Pink on this side. ZQ gets to escape. A little bit of that pinch from Stompy on the right, but he might just catch up here in just a second. He's landing this shot as the SMG to convert with as well. That's huge. The double drop down just working wonders for this trio. Now Kesix throughout the back. They're not going to have a trade here just yet. Looks like Neb's actually taken out off spawn the way that he was moving in that building 1v2. So yeah, another 2v2 at Lazy Lake. These guys are playing duos, Sancho. They have no concept of the 3v3.
We've been seeing this kind of shift the momentum when it comes to this Lazy Lake engagement. In the early setup games, Pink Trio was the one coming up top, getting those quick wipe ups, but now it's not. It's like colliding right now. And at the same time, down there at Retail Roast, the same thing has been happening. The team that's been losing out the outset now is winning these engagements.
One will be long and drawn out. Usually that's how it goes until one final moment. Both teams collide. To be scared to really have a conversation, to engage for the moment. 31 team still alive. Benji taking out Splash towards this POI all the way towards the north side. Kesix now being bullied by Stompy and Pink as they move forward closer and closer. Find a way to get inside that car. And Stompy, if you're on the back foot, that's going to be too much for you. Doesn't get inside the building fast enough. Pink also taking a lot of damage. Sloppy workings for movement from this other trio, but it's all good for Kesix and Falconly. They'll be able to reboot ZQ in just a little bit of a second. That fight ended where it began. It looks like Falconly's one step closer, calling Lazy Lake home.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to get off the mat there as soon as they're coming into this fight, 32nd place. But Queasy, what are you doing way out here, Queasy? Queasy way into this. Normally they land out there in the Flush Factory split, but now they're in the Misty Meadows, and they get greeted by the people that are holding down Misty Meadows, and that's Andelix there. Queasy, the defending FNCS champion, runs right into the French trio and gets converted into some valuable Storm Surge tags.
Queasy's trying to get to that front island multiple times. Andelix always contested off spawn as well. This time looks like things were a little bit more peaceful, so they were in a position that Queasy might have not been expecting the entire time. Sipco's Clement Floki, though, they're not done. Landing on the opposite side of the POI, they're looking for the fight now, but Andelix wants none of it. Kumu at the same time with Fulna. This is the first place trio that's fighting. Dawko's already lost Flecken by his side. Kumu's also lost a lot of HP, looking to come back in the fight. Harmy down, Fullnet down, just wings to be able to take care of on this north side. If they get this Elim and they get it fast, which they do, They now have control of the entire northwest hemisphere of the map. That is huge for this trio. They can loot up in peace, have the damage as well off spawn. They should be looking for a really good game. Granted, they get that reboot.
Now we go into what we were seeing that was happening in the feed. Analyx and Xweez getting some knocks, kind of patrolling Misty Meadows really well here, keeping people from getting in here. And the formerly known as, this is more on the gold and yellow bridge. I thought we're on the other side near Panther's Prowl, but now they're going to go into their old school stomping grounds of Caddy Corner, knowing that, you know, the trio of Trixie tends to rotate towards Retail Row. They know that this is available. They won't find a lot of noms or peppers or things of that sort, because considering that, but I think this is what's surprising this development is Jerky and Trulix pushing really aggressively, maybe dropping into Misty Meadows here on the Misty side of the map.
I mean, they have one teammate down. They need to do something, and that card is way too far away. So maybe the best points they can get for the moment are in the early game, are in engagements where everyone is still at even footing in terms of power and loadouts. At the same time, every fight they go towards will be a 2v3, and Floki, the Zippos, Clement, not easy foes to be able to challenge. So yeah, there's a huge disengage and a different rotation for Trulex entirely. Toos, though, I mean, they still have their grand split of Sludgy.
And you know, I know we're watching Toos right now, but I would like to see where is Malibuka, because Malibuka, we have been seeing that they were kind of clashing with Andretta a little bit earlier as the day went on. I would like to know, where did Malibuka kind of mix it up a bit? Now we're seeing the first zone here. It's finally we get a southern zone. A little taste of this here is going to be right smack dab between Holly Hatchery and Weeping Wood. So that's going to be a home zone advantage for Kirachi, Toos, and Stormy, right? They're going to have the ability to kind of take up all this swampy area. That means right there, right north of them is Savid's trio that's right above them, sitting down at Logjam. Last time we saw it, Kirachi was literally had Logjam all to himself here, but now Savid's trio is sitting right there. He's going to occupy that space, but this means Taste and Vino, they have an opportunity alongside with Reason to kind of make some noise here and maybe move up the leaderboard. They're right there on the north side at Believer Beach. And look at that. Coral Castle has two teams kind of colliding right at the end of there.
There's going to be very different flavors for every team as well. Games 1 and 2 previously today were very more, you know, north side entirely. Very more towards even ground all throughout. Not that much water. When it comes to this game, we're looking at how things are breaking down here in the final one of the day. South side, it's very different. The rotations as well, when you're pulling all these northern trios like Chapix from Craggy, Savages from Steamy, and as you mentioned, Tazens from Believer Beach. The third parties become that much more lethal, that much more fast. The, you know, overall quality of players are so much higher from these northern drop spots.
Last game of the day. We're going to have 8 games tomorrow. Aqua taking a great position here on the zipline hill. It's one of their strategies they do for Storm Surge tags as well. Looks like things are kind of opening up a little bit more flexibility. It looks like that Parasite may have taken it. Yes, it did. It took that headshot right there from the snipe. Aqua now is going to feel a little bit more cautious there looking around, but this is what they like to do when there's a southern zone. They move up here to the zipline hill, look for Storm Surge tags across the Weeping Woods. So we've been seeing that they've been executing their Storm Surge a little bit. It hasn't been working out for Aqua. We've been seeing them get into hot waters when they kind of dip into some box fights here. And again, this is surprising for a team that has Vidil and Noah Riley, considering that they love to have box fights. But look at this very aggressive rotation from Hen, Janice, and Chapix coming all the way down to Craggy Cliffs. And now they're right smack dab sitting on tight here at Boney Burbs.
At God positioning in a few other games earlier today, but didn't get to actually transition and turn it into much. This time, they have that experience. They're looking, final game of day 1, to bring things forward here, but over peaking could be dangerous. The Parasite's there for Hen to make sure, you know, it's not going to be too much of a punishment, especially in headshot snipe. And controlling Boney, I mean, that's huge too. I would assume that this zone will go even further down. That means they'll be looking at many more teams the longer they stay here. That's lots of opportunities for damage. Here are 2 of the teams that are dangerous when it comes to just navigating that mid game and going even closer towards the end. Sapphic, Nutric Default, and over at Dirty, they kind of experience as to what's going on the east side. Same thing with Savage coming in from Steamy. They might not be as close to the zone, or at least starting off towards the gorge here, but they understand who is what and where. They know that it's Sapphic they're dealing with right now as well. And there's more teams around.
It's a pretty decent rotation from them. It's not as aggressive as all the way to the West Coast. So Patrick, Default, and Safik here are going to sit on the edge of this, but they know they still got a lot of work to do because zones tend to keep pushing further and further south when it's first revealed. Now we go to Rifless David and Astro, no doubt, with the biggest test when it comes to a mental check that we've ever probably seen in the FNCS. Now they go ahead and push up into Holly Hatchery here to try to get an engagement from the trio coming from there. Trying to see that if they have any kind of positional advantage in this box fight. Astro looking around for his feet. Rifless, Savid, and Astro here. Yes, and that is Ryan, the first time we've seen on the broadcast. This is one of those engagements, though. Like I said, you know, if they get through this test, they could definitely set themselves because this is a zone is made for them.
A lot of teams are also playing much closer to home, knowing that this is their last game of the day. So really making sure that everything goes correctly, experimentation probably down to a minimum. And if there is risky things happening, it'll be the whole team going full swing a lot faster than the games we've seen previously before. So for Surprise, I mean, he's been going down first in the trio over and over again. Benji Fishy knocked. The Loot Boys active. The question is, do they capitalize on something or do they get clapped back? It looks like backfeed Hydro go down to Joe and Shadow. So the insurance was there for Benji. But over here, you can see a lot of hesitation from Surprise and FSI to overpeak. They've been getting punished so far today. Now, as we tune into this fight all the way in zone, it looks like we're watching a completely different game. These guys are locked in. Benji's revived. He wasn't fully eliminated either. That's huge for the trio. And they have 3 extra bodies of loot to work with.
They're going up against Ingram, Buzz, and Vox here that go from Defiant Dish. They do rotate into Weeping Woods to kind of pick on anything else that's leftovers of the cabin. And so far, they've been greeted by Joe, Benji, Shadow. Here comes the rest of the Coastal Trios making their way through. Mr. Savage is there. Patrick there. That's a great rotation. They're making up ground. And you see Hen, Janice, and Chapex up there on the north side. But I know that Joe, Shadow, and Benji, they want center. They don't want to be here on the outside of it. They still have a lot more to go. Of course, Weeping Woods, the big center point that has the height advantage, is the Guardian Tower. And now we go into the fight out to the cabin to one on the outskirts, and still Trulex is still feeling the wounded damage from that Misty Meadows, and Kirachi Stormright too is there to welcome them.
They're kind of on defense in their hometown right now. Putrick taken out by Chapix, and we saw he was near the gorge, near the east side, so transfer of power over there. Meanwhile, Two's going for nice piece of control on these walls. Jerky kind of bullied all the way back. We know that this is a duo right now. Back from the right side. Not a full answer here for anything. Another shot for Toos, but it's not going to be hard enough to take off Tulex's shields.
It's the last game here. You want to leave on a high note. Toos and Kirachi Stormright have been hitting all the right notes to get them into the top of the board here. This is game 4. They're sitting in second place going into this match here. Trulix and Jerky have been in the middle of the board throughout the entire day. Be more aggressive going to Misty Meadows, considering they're landing at the Hydro 16 split. We're seeing the adjustments being made, and sometimes game 6, you see either people kind of play close to the chest or they throw the kitchen sink at the last second here, because you're definitely going to have to hit the VOD reviews to make those adjustments for our defending champions to at least have a say into repeating. Now, a lot of this is being said right here from Surprise FSI at Holly Hatchery. This is their drop spot, so that's why they are sitting at height. But Sabin Rifle and Astro here, content with being kind of like in the mid layer in this small scrum as Rotary gets knocked. Art Skill picks up some eliminations and knocks. And again, Void, I'm just quite surprised. If you had to ask me what team has impressed you the most today, so I would say it's Fast Roki's trio, indeed.
Definitely invaded a lot of different boxes you wouldn't expect and done things on like the shadow of the server. But right now, as of this game, they're only about 47 points in total, accounting for all the differences and the changes we've done throughout the day. And as a result, they really need to climb back in this one, get towards the top 10. That, you know, we definitely see that they deserve. Same thing for Save that we were watching, much higher previously, but now he's in 6th place with 72 points overall as of game number 3. So we'll see what he can do in this game 4, the last game of the day.
My pick right here of Tayson, Reason, and Vino hasn't had a very successful day for their pedigree. It's been one of those days where they're just been being ousted on their rotations. They're getting their kind of sticking into the hand of their cookie jar too far, getting their wrist slapped, and it's messy, man. And it's the same way I'm trying to describe how their day's been. It's been like the way. The words cannot describe that they're not in the running so far. It's just been one of those days is that it's just not working out for them. And hopefully game 5 going into day 2 will be a lot better for Taste and Reason and Vino. But what I did like from what we saw, Vino has been clutching at endgame, and that's a great sign if you're a fan of this trio, considering that Vino has had a lot of those kind of confidence issues. When you get picked up by a big team like Taste and Reason, the big names of the EU region, you kind of have this imposter fraud syndrome vibing, but so far, getting those huge eliminations at endgame, that will be something that he definitely has to build on that success. Oh no, Seti, no. Storm Surge.
Yeah, this is trouble for them. They're gonna have to get aggressive on one of these trios around them. We know how good Benji is at deflecting the pressure.
Oh,
but he gets
Benji
knocked first by Teak, so damage that he needed definitely 60 above now. We'll have to reach for more, and they know they have a 3v2 advantage, so Teak might just. At the same time, this is a very passive trio in these moments. They like to get a little bit off of for their trio, a nice little chip of damage, and then base up again. One Elon, get the mat, base up again. So a follow through might not be here, especially when there's so many teams watching, 19 below. The pressure plus Surge, plus a possible ratio from Red Rush's team as they jump straight into the box. Exterio's going down, Cammy taken out, Mappy low HP. It's over for them in the blink of an eye.
This is a great advantage for Savage here. This is what led to a lot of success in the previous season. Watching into these engagements from a distance, using the AR and stealing away elimination points from people who are box fighting. We saw it all last season, and Savage right there, you're seeing on top of the cabin right there, setting in some beams. Red Rush mapping Asterios. This is just a cluster. Look at this mini map. It's its own little center point almost of madness.
It looks like these guys have their own memo of where half and half is going, so they're going to be chilling there for now.
I didn't get it.
You're not on the mailing list for Weeping Woods?
I think maybe it got
sent season 3, Sancho.
I think it got sent to spam. It got sent to spam. I got to double check. Unfortunate. I got to start next time.
You might be where Andy is then in their own little cluster, the wrong address, but lots of teams will be trying to make it in. There's lots of space to work with too. You'll notice the map too, just silent right now. Everyone's not really colliding just yet with each other. Woods aren't weeping as of now.
I'm looking at Kirachi. He has not a lot of AR ammo. He does have these fireflies that he could just set this entire woods ablaze here, but there's something that kind of went wrong and they're looting for this. I gotta know what else does Toos and Stormy have here, because normally this is a stronger trio going into this kind of zone. This is in their backyard. It's up north right behind them. It's the neighboring zone of Weeping Woods, and we normally see them have mobility. They got a lot of materials. They're feeling good, but whatever engagement that occurred here in the south has definitely wounded Kirachi's trio. There's Malibuka.
He's looking good for now. But we'll see exactly what he can do next.
Bubak and Rara Kylie, another trio that has been impressive throughout the day, has made a big surprise in taking on these engagements. A lot of storm fighting, a lot of purple when you see their POVs. They win those engagements and then they get picked up later on by another trio that made the rotation. Malibuka gliding, using the trees, the leaves, block the bullets almost. A Bubak. Kylie goes down. It looks like Kylie's going to be knocked. Aware is going to glide over and follow through. He's going to use the tree line. His Hezix is the one that eliminated Kylie here. Going to use this big tree for safe haven, but just not to get all the way in. So look, we already talked about Kirachi, Toos, and Stormy not having a lot. They might be gifted this easy Elin by Bubak, who's literally out of builds. He's out of builds and he's on the front doorstep.
Trying something. Usually you're in this position in the 9th zone. It's going to be tough as Janice claims Andy as he's trying to walk away. Aware also down. Bubak for some reason just gets to stay alive. No one's really watching those back ramps at all. Jason, Reason, and Vino, you're talking about, you know, this could be the game where they clap back. They've kind of flopped here and there. And yeah, they've hit top 10. They have a few elims, those classic clutches from Tayson. I mean, we haven't really seen too many of them today. So we'll see if this is the game where you can really bring it back. Weeping Low Ground, it's the place where we've seen magic happen in seasons past across all regions. So they're setting themselves up for it right now. It might be overall trouble. 12 people still need to go down, and they go from 80 surge above down to 6. Their game held on by just the threat as so many more people do damage. Dako, his entire trio gone. Flecken, the last one left alive. I mean, everyone on the feed, it is Express right now are just getting taken out.
Right now, the Zone 5 has been revealed here, and this is going to be a planning thing for Thraces. Flecken has a max pull here. The next minute on this rotation is going to be grueling. He's going to feel every second tick as he's making his way to the safe zone. Tayson, Vino, and Reason here making their way, pushing ZQ from the backside. Void's there as well with Fasroki and Karma. Ingram is now on the move, but Amplify, ADN, and Matzo here on the front side already in the safe zone. Right behind them is Clement trailing them, and that is the rotation that's happening here. Now we're on board with Kirachi, Toos, and Stormy. They're making a great rotation considering they're eccentric here, but I just still have like a red card right now. I just don't, I'm not feeling too confident in what they have here. Nice beam, nice 30 tag to kind of send a receipt right before they glide through, but I'm still concerned here, Shio.
Yeah, they'll be operating off low. We saw before when they're in this position, it's a little bit troublesome.
Oh,
but they can affect so many other trios. Tayson's going to be one of them. And look at that gift that comes rolling down. They save everything but the launch pad, and that's going to be huge for Kiriachi to use as they move forward in these moving zones.
Tayson's has been having to struggle here going into the first moving from Zone 5. So I'm going to definitely have to take a look at it and see where are they slipping up, where are the mistakes happening. If they have time to adjust it, considering day 2, we'll have 8 games here as Zone 5 in 10 seconds is closing here. Kirachi coming into this match is 2nd place, as well you see Save It here coming into this match in 6th place.
See what they can do to take over first. Weeping Woods actually staying inside the forest, it looks like right now with this zone. Everyone's kind of launch padded in and maybe overshot their landing. They're gonna have to move all the way back, shuffle their way onto old builds. 18 teams will take this test, but only one will win on this final game of the day.
And there's not a lot of elevation along the way, just a lot of trees that to break on through. So they could definitely kind of find their breathing room as the low ground won't be as messy as we saw in the Stealthy Stronghold game that we had in game 3.
See how a team of higher elevation likes to make adjustments.
Nice!
Look at this, Astro. It's not for position, it's for eliminations. They're going straight down and putting the pressure on.
I like that.
Get even more room to move.
Oh,
David is taken away on the backside. Unfortunate. Astro interrupted in the way he was harping in. His timing might be off just a little bit, but he makes it through. They're gonna have to operate on mid ground right now. The potential to take over on height as a duo, it'll be troublesome against Enel squeezing 4ZR, almost impossible. These guys have a huge double armed all the way split tarp, and they're making big use of it, just pressuring everyone down below.
And they have a big shadow, and that's Aqua's trio that's right behind them. We've seen the tight takes happen here in this moment, but Kirachi is on the low ground. But did they get that elimination? No. I'm taking a look at the feed here. They are going to be able to pick up the loot right there. But here it is. Yes, the shadow now overtakes. All of a sudden, you had some sunny skies, but the big cloud known as Aqua Vidil and Noah Riley come on through and rain on your parade. And they have a nice opportunity to close out day 1 with the Victory Royale.
Started it off and they're going to end it the same way. We'll see what they can do. A huge split with Vidil taking things close and personal from the whole server. Aqua up top just healing up with Noah Riley, seeing exactly what they can do after they're ready to deal down pressure. Kiriachi 2 Stormy right, almost going down the surge here. In a second, it'll be over for Toos. And it is just sniped by lightning from the skies. Now it's all eyes on height as they look to just dominate this last game.
I'm so surprised Kirachi had issues with Storm Surge. I think they didn't get their Storm Surge placement that they really wanted going more north. We see them, they kind of stuck around too much south. Now Benji actually gets elimination on 4ZR. Let's take a look at Hughes on the low ground. It is Andretta. They are the only ones in a decent one. Everyone else is on the backside of Storm. And here we go. Hand Janus and Chapix are going up. Can they get it? Aqua's now defending against Chapix. Hen, he has to disengage here, but what a great defense. But Hen is now going to come up. He's going to try to snatch someone from height, but Hen has to disengage as Chapix and Zennis, their first high take doesn't go through. But the top of the beams, oh my goodness, return their sender. Hen gets beamed and gets knocked down to 12 HP.
Takes a few more attacks on the deal as they're going down, but Noah Riley's no way
another.
Amplify also jumps inside the box and takes away Hen. And anything he was trying to do on height. Chapix, though, he is the overall kind of winner of the day. No match left all the way on height. Goes for a miracle shot. It's not possible. What amazing defense. 5 Vidil still alive, but very much so affected. This retake has splintered apart the trail all the way up top. Now Noah Riley with 1 HP. Looks like he gets claimed by what should be the Storm. It's 80N, Amplify, and Matzo who take the throne of high ground for the moment. There was a clash. No one on either team won.
My.
And now we'll see Vidil with the off heal. It's looking great. The timing, immaculate, perfect. Almost there too. He has to get straight into the Storm. 1 second, none. Somehow survives at the face of Amplify too. He might have to take this final shot in the Storm. 83, blocked by a wall, and doesn't get the lift to see the final moments.
Amplify with a huge spoil on that run here, but we have a new team on height. Expert and Art Skill coming from the mountains of Misty Meadows here. Now standing on this mountain height, operating as a duo here. Amplify goes down. Diablo coming from Coral Castle here on the low ground. Can Diablo get a victory out? He got a reboot round win, and what a great way to end day one. If Diablo and Bayan are able to get a victory out, it's almost a looks like a 2v3. This is a full trio of Ghosty, Diablo, and Bayan. They're working through, looking for some beans on the hot feet on the up the low on height. Nothing goes through. It is 6 eliminations and the victory out at stake. This is what you want to see here. You want to close out. You want to go to bed and I set it down. Yes, nicely done. Expert gets knocked. Now there's only one standing in the way for Ghosty. It's Art Skill. Art Skill now in the full retreat, gets tagged in the back. Ghosty, Diablo, wait a minute. Art Skill says not so fast. Gets his 10th eliminations and the victory out in pure masterpiece play at the end.
They had position, didn't have the power, but then turned all these patterns into an amazing, perfect play towards the end. What a clutch by Art Skill. I want to know all about that game, Sancho. I mean, that was it for the day from us. We'll see how the leaderboard changes overall. 8 more games to play tomorrow. And from what we saw today, I mean, height, that is the thing everyone's chasing.
Yep. Hey, height is going to be chaotic, and we got to take it to the analyst desk to break it on down. For Sancho West, for Shio, we'll see you tomorrow for more EU action.
Thank you guys so much, Sancho West and Shywood. You're fantastic as always. My goodness, man, these games are absolutely insane. Everyone is just full sending it. They are thinking, what can we do to get ourselves the Axe of Champions? We have to get aggressive. We cannot give our opponents moments to breathe. Levin, these games are on another level.
Yeah, and I think, you look at the way a lot of these games have sort of played out, where you have these crazy battles for height. You see these top teams looking to take it from each other, but a lot of them seem to be scuffed. And you have these other teams who maybe wouldn't have expected to come in and really grab the game by the scruff of its neck, and they are, right? Art Skills trio played it out perfectly there, and I think this is something where I don't want to overreact, right? Because we have plenty more games left to play, but it does seem like there's a bit more parity in the lobby. It doesn't feel as top heavy as FNCS as we've seen in the past, which is, I guess, more entertainment for us, right? It means it's really anybody's game, but yeah, the way these games have played out, it's been crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes down to the height plays that we've been mentioning. I think I would like to see how many times height has turned over on average every single game so far, because most of the top teams that we've been looking out for have been those teams who have just been consistently going up for height over and over and over again. Like in that game, early on, we saw Noah's team go up. They only had 30 builds when they took it at the end of second moving. But then obviously we saw, was it Henjanis Chapix went up for it at that moment, which left both teams completely without Matt. So because so many teams are going for it over and over again, it leaves opportunities for like Art Skills team there just to take it when the height teams just have nothing. So because that's changing over so many times over and over and over again, that leaves opportunities, like I said, for the other teams who potentially are more opportunistic, who are playing those kind of higher mid-ground layers. They look up and they go, hey, these guys don't have any mats. We're going up for it.
Yeah, and look, I think that is a big problem where, I think in the past, and even leading up to the finals, you sort of saw, that this could happen where it would be such a scramble for height. But I think in the moment when we've actually got into the games, a lot of these teams are really going and thinking in their heads, we actually really want it more than we even thought we did. Because it's like you said, Riz, I do want to know how many times our teams have changed. I'm sure when you go back in VOD review as well, you'll see more teams looking to try and get, even if they decide, okay, we're not actually going to go for it, plenty of teams will be thinking, can we get it right? Because it just does seem to be almost like the common denominator, when it comes to trying to win. This team was on high, that team was on high. At one stage, they were on high, like it's such a big sort of win condition at the moment, and look, we're just going to see more of that, right?
We will. And what's funny is, when we were looking back at the VODs from Queasy's team, making that little first game package, and the way they took out, remember that launch pad that we broke it all down with the two players got up in the front, it'd be a beautiful pinch. While we were looking at that, I remember vividly watching Queasy, and all he was doing, he was just like this, right? He's just running around. He's on that high ground layer. He's just like staring up to the sky. And that's usually like the tunnel vision focus of teams who are looking to do high or doing so well. And in this game that we just watched, obviously, our skills team did that to a T and managed to claim it at the end. And the victory for them came kind of sweet because obviously our skill, we saw he was left as a solo. And it came from Bayon's team on the low ground. A little bit of a choke, right? They pick up the first elimination, then they kind of split and they all just kind of go out. They loop to kind of go up to get the final elimination onto art skill. But he's come down. He's already gone down. They've done a little switcheroo position. He gets some beautiful shots. And then obviously we saw that Zoe going down. So, you know what? Good clutch from him. Took the high ground and won it.
So insane. I mean, honestly, the art scale wanted it. He was like, I'm just going to go down. I'm going to 1v2, 1v3, whatever I got to do to get it. And in the end, it works out for him. Now, we are going to take a look at our top 3 as we prepare to close out the show. We'll see which of these trios are kind of sitting in top 3. Remember, we have those additional games tomorrow. So we're going to have to see how things go. But for right now, we've got Pink, Nebs, and Stompy. We saw this trio come out super, super strong in game number 2, right? They got themselves a Victory Royale, 11.
Yeah, look, these guys, they got a Victory Royale. They were looking good. And, we talked earlier about sort of the passion that they have. I think, when you look at their philosophy, it's clear where the influences come from, right? Stompy, of course, is someone who historically has always looked to play height. Last season, he played height a lot with Joe, Shadow, and Stompy. Joe and Shadow, I should say. Stompy was part of it. Pink, sort of a similar thing, right? Where in the past, he's played with Trulex, who we know has, always looked to play height. And when they've played height so far today, it's been successful. They've looked good there, right, Reese?
Yeah, absolutely. That was game number 2 that they picked up the Victory Royale, right? That they managed to take it. But what's good is the fact that these guys are able to play that low, like we saw in the first game, right? They picked up second place from playing the low to mid ground players. They picked up the Victory Royale from playing first. And this seems like these guys are set up so well. They are having a little bit of difficulty in that spawn fight. Remember, Kezik's team is pushing in, like they're obviously contesting them off spawn, which we didn't initially think they were. We see Jaggy's team also pushing in if they have an opportunity from zone, coming in from Catty Corner side. So, they have had to get a little bit more difficulty off spawn later on, but overall, very, very good for them. Now, have a look at the teams in second currently, right? Obviously looked at third. Second is Vidil, Noah, and Aqua. 3 top 10 games out of the 4 that have counted so far. So being very, very consistent, in particular with an average placement of 7.5.
Yeah, these guys are no surprise. I think there have been plenty of surprises when you in terms of standings and what teams have done well and what teams haven't necessarily done as good as you maybe would have thought. When it comes to surprises, these guys haven't been one, right? We expected them to come out today and put on a show, and they have, right? 3 top 10 games, sorry. You look at their eliminations, 20 eliminations, Victory Royale. These guys are on fire, and I'm hoping they can bring that form into tomorrow. We talked about how they probably are the best high ground team in the lobby on any given day, and I'm looking forward to seeing them showcase that more.
100%. And with the 1 Victory Royale, we must also look at the 1st place, we will say, who's currently in first. The 1th place. Kerry actually storming right in 2 top 10 games, slightly out of their element, right? Because usually, I say this almost every time I think to these teams, Kirianchi, Stuce, and Stormer. When you think of players of this caliber, you think of people who can W key, who can win as many fights as they can, and that's basically what the playstyle they've been playing today. But over the last 2 seasons, they've just been consistently getting top 5s, right, around that placement, game after game after game. But so far, only 2 top 10s, but a ton of eliminations. So they're kind of flipping back to almost what I would say is the thought about playstyle of them, but not necessarily what they've actually been doing the last few seasons.
Yeah, and look, sitting in first place after the first day of competition is never too bad. Of course, they have a bit of a more difficult time than other people have, right? Because they have more games to try and retain their lead. But, it's a great point you make, because I think overall you look at them this year and they've sort of sat on the edge of the elite, right? When we've talked about the elite trios throughout the year, you talk about Hen, Janice, Chapix, you talked about any team, O'Reilly and Vidil on. you know, these guys have, you know, come into the conversation, but they've never gotten that respect, right? Like the respect of a Thomas Nass and Flick or Kami and Teak. This is their chance to push themselves into that category and beyond, right? If they can finally hold on to an emphasis win, even a top 3, I think would do them wonders in terms of finally sort of getting that namesake worthy respect, because they are an elite trio and they've shown that today, but they're gonna have to continue it tomorrow.
100%. Speaking of elite trios, so I mean, we've mentioned these guys so much. Noah, Aqua, Vadil, like they've put on an absolute show for us so far. Like, let's be real, like consistently taking high ground, repeatedly performing on that as well, right? Being able to like capitalize on victory royales, and even if not, getting tons of eliminations and getting good top 10 placements from that. So really good for them. Game number 3, Savage and Drea refs card, victory royale there, where honestly playing the playstyle that we're not used to seeing them play high ground, and they did it so well as well. If we kind of think back to the 7th zone and the 6th zone with that anti-launchpad strat, like these guys have clearly understood the high ground meta, right? Even for a low ground team, the way that they were able to split the high ground, these guys are experienced players in every single playtime. That is exciting to watch.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you've been watching since the beginning of the show, you would have seen the interview I did with all 3 of them, right? And that was something that they sort of talked about as well, you know, where they mentioned like they've evolved as a trio. All of them are all individually a lot better. They feel like they have a better understanding of the game. And clearly, right, that game was a perfect example of how they have evolved. They have the ability now to be dominant in phases of the game where we didn't expect them to be, for example, in the height. And so that dynamism being added to their game, like that is scary for anybody else. It is, once again, going to be about replicating that though moving forward, because there's still so many games left to play.
And that's the key factor, right? These trios that can adapt to what's happening in the game. I'd be curious to see if tomorrow we come back and we continue to see this, right? This all-out brawl for high ground, or some team's going to say, look, that's great and all, but we're just going to change it up. We want to try and win from low, or perhaps we have some strategy to come out. Because, yeah, right now it's just like there's kind of 2 separate games happening, right? There's like everyone else playing, and then there's a second game of Fortnite happening where it's just high ground. How many of us can look to contest that? How many of us can try and fight over it until one of us is left and owns it and potentially wins out? So we'll have to see how that goes. You got something for me, Levin?
Just high ground wins, isn't it?
Well, look, the thing is, what I'm thinking about when you say that, because we see so many height teams go over and over again, you would think because of the mess, we'll say, we've seen on height, that there would be like a super dominant low ground team like Kami Teak, right? You'd think that this is their time. They should be set up in poised position with craziness going up on high ground. Like, I would expect them to be top 3 right now based on just the setup that they've had alone, just in the positioning in the end game.
Yeah, and look, you know, this isn't something you're going to see from me a lot, but, you know, I look at maybe, you know, across the pond a bit when you look at NAE's, a team like, you know, Senate Commando Edge, I look at it and I think they'd eat this lobby up, because, you know, there are phases of the low ground where you think to yourself, you know, what are teams really doing? A lot of the teams who are there don't really seem to have a good grasp of things when it comes to claiming certain areas of low ground, you know, understanding the direction and which zone's moving and how you can cut teams off and get limbs that way. It's been a bit rocky in that sense. So I'm really looking for a good high ground team to come and just really say, okay, it's time. Or low ground team, sorry, to come and say, look, it's time. We are going to dominate now.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. Because the thing that keeps echoing my mind is like high ground wins games, but low ground wins tournaments. So like, I'm just trying to see where that fits in. But for now, we have to kind of put a pause on things, because that's end the competition for today. Now, please do remember, tomorrow we are back with more games. We'll have an additional 2, so we have a total of the 12 games per normal. As always, please give these gentlemen a follow. Give Sancho West and Shia Wager a follow as well. We love all these guys. But that wraps up the competition for day number 1 of the finals in Europe. Don't forget, we're going to go over to NA East. We also have NA West, and both we'll come back for tomorrow as well. These guys are just killing me right now. Fortnite fam, we love you guys so much. Until tomorrow, or until next time, we'll see you guys on that battle bus. Beep, beep.